I see Lalit Bokolia sir is also connected from us. So, warm welcome, sir, and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. Our convener and pillar of this program, Dr. Dheeraj Kumar Singh. Thank you. I also see Professor Satish Kumar Sinha sir joining us from Ahmedabad directly. It's an honor to have you, sir, in this August gathering today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my dear colleagues.
So once Dheeraj sir is here, so we'll start the program. I also see, I think Rajesh sir is also here from Aj. Welcome, Rajesh sir. It's always an honor to have you. And thank you for organizing such beautiful programs. Uh, Let me just brief you the agenda before our speakers officially join. Here is the agenda. Here is the speakers we have with us. We will have shortly Dr. Sujit Kumar Bajpayee, Honorable Joint Secretary in Ministry of Environment. We already have in us connected Sri Lalit Bokolia sir, who is the Director and Member Secretary, Coal Mining Sector in Ministry of Environment and Government of India. We have Mr. P.K. Singh Rathorji, who's the Principal General Secretary and Convener of All India Association of Coal Executives, a very dynamic person. We'll hear how he is contributing in this field. I think we'll shortly have Dr. Hishmi Jamil Hussain, who is the Corporate Head Biodiversity and Corporate Sustainability, Environment and Forest, Climate Change at Tata Steel. And then we have, I already told Mr. Chittaranjan Mahali sir, who heads the EHS at Tata Steel SEZ in Odisha. We will shortly have a very dynamic and a veteran in this field, Sri David Pichamuthu sir, who is a 2 times former president of FIMI and has been an instrumental pillar in the field of coal mining and environmental issues. We already have Sri Satish Kumar Sinha sir, who is Associate Vice President, Sustainability at Adani Enterprises, looking after coal and non-coal mining. We will shortly have Sri Amar Agarwal sir. He is the Director at RKTC. So this is the panel we have today, and let me also show the agenda. The sequence that we will follow. The sharing thing is a little difficult here. Yeah, this is the agenda. This is how, so there'll be slight changes in this, and we'll start the program.
अकरम भाई अकरम भाई
Oh, sorry. Yeah, welcome. Sir.
Sorry, there was some technical glitch.
Right. So we can start, sir, now?
Sir, can we wait for 2-3 minutes? Few people.
Sure.
Just 2-3 minutes. Yeah. There are few people going to join. Just.
I also see my friend and professor from Malaysia, Professor Khairuddin Welcome, sir. A veteran academician of Malaysia, and I think he is one of the few professors on earth who loves to seek knowledge than actually sharing it. And he is almost in every platform seeking knowledge. So welcome, sir. It's really amazing to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Always a pleasure, sir. So how is mining and all in Malaysia?
Everything is okay, as usual. The same issues and the same problems, the same concerns. It's global. Everywhere else is the same. Nothing new, bro. We're trying to manage and contain it. That's it. But the way I look at it, this is my view. Before we start, if you don't mind, my personal view. This is all a GEC. I call it. I give an acronym. I call it a GEC. Global Economic Conspiracy.
Wait. Economy. It's all about the economic benefit.
Yeah, that's why I call it GEC. It's all economics, okay? Everything is economics.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical industry, healthcare industry, even the doctors. If you have a clinic, if you have no patients coming to your clinic, I don't think you will last for 2 months. Who's going to pay your nurse, right? So, simple.
Indeed.
Akram.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's interesting what you're having now, because just on Bloomberg last night, or this morning, I saw Australia is looking seriously into coal, and the Prime Minister has already set the target that no coal by 2050. Very interesting. Yeah, 60% of the power, what they call that we need is still whatever it is, all the plants, you still need to generate it using coal. And I think that's also the same reason why China is reluctant, to what they call bring it down, because they have a lot of coal mines in their place. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. Indeed. Is Shri P.K. Rathod sir here? Dheeraj sir, we can start the discussion and then maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can start now?
Yes, we can start, sir. Please.
Decline.
So, namaskar and a very warm welcome to you all, honorable esteemed guests, alumni fraternity, industrialists, eminent dignitaries, invited guests, and my dear friends. I am Dr. Dheeraj Singh, Managing Director of GRC India and General Secretary of Alumni Association of JNU. Welcomes you all to this national webinar cum training program on coal mining and coal washery sector. I would first of all like to thank the organizers, co-organizers, organizing committee members for organizing this event. My humble thanks to BRICS Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Alumni Association of JNU, GRC India, All India Association of Coal Mining Executives, SEPC, which is Services Export Promotion Council, comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industries, the Policy Times, and all other organizations for their unstinted support in all our endeavors and being readily available for all our initiatives. Today, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the eminent panel of guests available for discussion and knowledge dissemination on this important topic of the webinar. Dr. Sujit Bajpayee ji is the Joint Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. Sri Lalit Bakolia ji, Director and Member Secretary of Coal Mining Sector, Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change. Sri P.K. Bhatia ji, Additional Secretary General, Federation of Indian Mineral Industries, FIMI. Sri P.K. Singh Rathore ji, Principal General Secretary and Convener, All India Association of Coal Executives. Dr. Hismi Jamil Hussain Saab, who is Head Biodiversity, Corporate Sustainability, Environment, Forest, Sustainability, Climate Change, Nature-Based Solutions and Strategy Expert, Tata Steel. Sri Chitranjan Mahali ji, he is Head of EHS, Tata Steel SEZ Limited. Sri David Pichamuthu ji, former President of FIMI. Sri Satish Kumar Sinha ji is the Associate Vice President, Adani Enterprises Limited. Sri Amar Agarwal ji, Director of RK Transport Group. Our topic for today's webinar is current environment legislations and regulations with respect to coal mining, coal washery sector for sustainable and self-reliant India. This theme of webinar is of utmost importance for sustainable development and self-reliant India. As today's topic is related to environment clearance and allied subjects, I would like to highlight the fact that our organization GRC India is an environmental consultancy organization duly accredited by Quality Council of India under the EIA scheme for doing environment impact assessment related projects for almost 15 sectors, including mining and that too both open cast and underground mining. We have our own in-house laboratory, Environment Laboratory, which is accredited by NABL for 565 parameters and recognized by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change as well. I would like to highlight the fact that our organization GRC India is an environmental. There is some echo. Organization. Biju?
Yeah, I have stopped it. Please continue.
So that's what we were saying. I was saying that we have an in-house environmental laboratory which is recognized by NABL for 565 parameters and also recognized by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change as well. Apart from this, we have the sectoral coordinators and 12 domain area experts who can very well take care of all coal mining related projects. Alumni Association of JNU, under its national webinar series, has organized its 31st webinar on the topic, which is very crucial and significant from industry's perspective. Such webinars are organized to disseminate the ideas, concepts for all stakeholders associated. Using this platform, they can share their valuable experience with us that can enlighten all of us to think about the way forward. Similarly, GRC India has also taken a small initiative by introducing an online web portal called Green Tip, which has been developed to handhold industries and make them aware of the latest notifications, circulars, office memorandums, etc., related to environment. Green Tip, which is also called Technical Interactive Platform, Green Technical Interactive Platform, where one can ask query related to environment clearance, EIA, consent to establish, consent to operate, and other statutory requirements, or any other related topic, and the expert team associated with GRC India will promptly answer to those queries and guide the industry persons in the right direction. Another tool to handle environment compliances has also been developed, which is called Green ERP. And both these tools will assist the industries in catering to the environmental norms and requirements. I would like to thank each and every member present today for this webinar. And believe me, this is just the beginning, and we have the sky as the limit. We all require your guidance and blessings to take this journey forward. Now, I would like to end and would like to give an assurance that all our stakeholders, that we as an organization are always available for your complete handholding so that our country can grow manifold and become self-reliant. Now I will hand over to Akram Haq Saab, the moderator of this program, who will take this forward from now on. Thank you, Jain.
Thank you, and Jain sir. Thank you so much for the welcome remarks and being the whole and soul of organizing this series of programs that we are doing together and to benefit and handhold the industry. I again welcome everyone to join us in this important program. And thank you, David sir. Also, you had some difficulty to join. Welcome. So, is Rajesh sir here around? So, may I request now, if he is here, Rajesh sir to deliver the presidential address, the president of ARCH. So, I think we can move on. And India as a nation has, I think, is the second largest coal producer of this world and also second largest consumer after China, consuming around and mining around 716 million metric tons of coal. Now, coal supplies around 40% of India's energy needs, and 30% we depend on import. Our experts will discuss briefly about now. Coal is one of the core sectors, not only in terms of generating, energy needs of the nation, but also there are environmental compliance and regulations which we need to have enough knowledge of. Recently, the Minister of Coal has come up with the latest policy. I would in fact request Chittaranjan Mahali sir to enlighten us on the latest policy, and David sir also to enlighten us on the latest policy. The objective of this program is to create understanding around the subject. What are the environmental obligations and compliances that we have and we need to follow? What is the basic feedback of Indian industry and other stakeholders in terms of, so when we make a policy, the objective of making policy is to give a direction to the industry for sustainable development. So it is not just one-sided, it has the objective of making India a better nation. So coal is one of the most important sector where environmental obligations and regulations can guide the nation towards a clean and sustainable nation. So now I would request uh, if Umang Mathurji is here for the launching of GRC Green Tip and Green ERP, the technology that GRC has developed to handhold the industry as enviro-legal virtual sale, especially for the coal mining and coal washery sector. Is over to Mr. Umang Mathur. Umang sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and launch the program, sir.
Okay, just a second. Yeah, please give me just 1 minute. I'll be
Okay,
sharing the screen soon.
sure.
I'll ask Biju to share the screen just for a moment. I think this screen is visible now.
Yeah, we
Everybody?
can see that.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Umang Mathur, and I represent Grassroots Research and Creations. And today, on the occasion of this webinar, we'll be launching one of our tools, which is called GRC Green Tip. It's a technical interactive platform, specially made to handhold our stakeholders. And through this particular portal, the major two aspects is firstly, our stakeholders can raise queries and questions related to environment, EIA, consent to establish, consent to operate, green building, or any related queries. And it is not meant for only particular sectors. Mining sector, it will cater construction sector, any sector. So any questions our stakeholders are having related to any objections or rules and regulations or any guidelines related to any sector, they are most welcome to log into this particular portal called Green Tip. The website is grcgreentip.com, and we are actually launching this particular thing on this occasion of this webinar. So this is our green tip portal, wherein you can see the description about what this portal is all about. And there is a window already given where you can post your query after you subscribe yourself. So first, every user has to like subscribe themselves as signing up, and then they are eligible to share and raise any queries if they are having. With this portal, the second objective of ours is that we will be, as a organization, we will be sharing all the office memorandums, the circulars, the guidelines, or any environmental laws, regulatory related, any notification that comes up. We'll be sharing that with all our stakeholders so that they also are abreast about all the latest norms and regulations about the mining sector or the other industries which are there. So this portal we are launching. So I think this is a good initiative, and everybody can utilize this. So we hope that this particular portal will definitely assist us, all our stakeholders, in handholding. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Umang Mathur. Now I invite Mr. Shri, our co-organizer, Shri P.K. Singh Rathore Sahab, who is the Principal General Secretary and Convener of All India Association of Coal Executives.
Namaskar. I am P.K. Singh Rathore, Principal General Secretary, All India Association of Coal Executives. This is an unique association of coal mining executives. And this association consists of members from working executives as well as retired executives. And we are having members from ex-directors, CMDs of coal industry, public sector coal industry, Coal India and Singareni Company. And we are serving to the society in the way the people want. So I am very much thankful to Policy Times, Sri Akramji and Sri Dheeraj Kumar Singh, who is co-organization of this function, this webinar, who is also having his work in the field of environmental consultancy, and he represents Alumni Association of GNU. Dear distinguished guests, participants, let us go to the background when the coal mining was started in India. In 1770, the coal mining started in Raniganj coalfield of West Bengal. And with modest start, now India is producing more than 700 million ton of coal. And it is meeting the 54% requirement of energy need in our country. As we grew, coal demand increased. After World War II, there was much demand of coal, and we started shifting from manual to mechanized coal production. Earlier, coal mining in India was done manually, when loader used to load coal in tubs, a small 1-ton capacity rail wagon, which was being run in underground mines. And loader used to load coal in a 10 wagon, and it is to be brought to the surface for transportation to the power plants. But as the coal demand grew, Coal India and Singareni Company and other private coal mining companies started mass production by introducing heavy earth machineries like drag line, shovel, dumper, drill. So you will be surprised to know that in our country, India, we are using 240-ton dumpers, which carries overburden to other dump yard by excavating the overburden. The overburden is the soil which lies above the coal seam. And we are using 42 cubic meter dumpers in Gebra and Dipka Kusmunda coal mines of ACCL. And it is the largest capacity shovel to extract coal. So I'm not going in technical details, more details about machinery. Let us concentrate on the topic mining legislation, environmental legislation concerning coal mining. So earlier the coal mining was being done manually, but in 1973, Coal Mines Nationalization Act came, and the mining sector was brought into the control of the central government. And in 1975, Coal India was formed. It was given mandate to extract coal and supply to the thermal power plants, steel industry like that. So with 8 companies, subsidiary companies, 7 producing company and 1 consultancy company, CMPDI, it is serving the nation. Then again in 1976, for steel production, then needed captive plant, captive coal mine, so it was given. And in 1993, for meeting the coal demand, Government of India also allowed private companies to produce coal and use for captive purpose. But in 1993, when the private companies were allotted coal blocks, then again, and I'm not going in detail, the coal block 204 coal blocks cancelled by Supreme Court, and then it is in auction. And on 9th and 10th of this, 2 days back, some 10 coal blocks have been put on auction, and it has been given to Mahanadi and Jindal Steel Power Coal Limited, Assam Mineral Development Corporation Limited, and like that. So as far as environmental legislation is concerned, in 2014, there was ordinance passed in which it was stated that the coal containing more than 40%, 34% of ash will not be transported to coal power plants, which is beyond 500 kilometers from the mine where coal is produced. So 34% coal ash, it was allowed. Below 34%, it will not be transported. And in that case, impetus was given for installing CHP, coal washery. And as of now, more than 60 coal washery is working. Out of that, 15 is from Coal India and other from, from private companies, Aryan, Adani, Jindal, they are doing. But recently, in 2020, last year, 2020, this position was again undid, and now the thermal power plants have been allowed to use the coal having more than 34% of ash. What happened? During coal washing, coal rejects were generated and which was localized. So it created pollution in the coal mining areas where coal production was done. Already there was pollution, and this coal rejects and coal rejects were also having some calorific value, and stacking was problem. When coal washing, as you know, some technical person is there, coal washing needs power, washing needs water. So slurry, it was it flow to the local river or nala, and so contaminated the water. So it is when the power production is done at in Gujarat or Maharashtra or Punjab, so pollution is somewhat distributed. But when coal wash is installed near coal mines, the pollution will be, or environmental pollution will be localized. So the government of India thought, and Ministry of Environment and Forest and Niti Aayog also suggested that coal washing is not required. So the 2014 legislation was ended, and now the coal mines have been, power plants have been allowed to use coal having more than 34% of that. It was also allowed to use imported coal to upgrade the quality and for mixing the Indian coal with that imported coal. So mining legislation now comes, the topic is self-reliant India. Why? How we will be self-reliant? First thing is that we have to reduce the import. Since formation of the NDA government at the center, the import has been continuously reducing. We have reduced the import, and lesser import is there. And when the import is lesser, we are certainly saving forex. we are saving forex. So this can be used in development, regional development of our country. As you know, we are constituting about 18% of population of the world. But you will be surprised to know that we are just using 1/4 of world average. The power plus other people, other countries are using. We are at the 25% of our consumption is there. So if India needs growth, as it is projected that 8 to 8.5% growth will be there in 2022-23. So India needs to increase its production and as well as coal production. As some person from Malaysia or some other country, I'm not just recalling the name, he told that what will be the future of coal. Mind it, our participants, I want to clear that India is having coal reserve for another 140 years, and it will be continuing to be supplied. Although climatic, we are party to the Paris conference, Stockholm conference, and Brazil conference, Rio de Janeiro conference. So we are certainly reducing the use of fossil fuel. But as of now, we are not in position to generate as much as renewable energy that is needed. So India has to grow. India is to use 18%, 11% of world average of coal energy need, and we are at 6%. So renewable energy, although the government is giving impetus, it has also started production linked incentive for solar panel production. But the cost is not, and also government of India has increased import tax. So the material imported solar panel will be somewhat, it will be costlier more. So India will be producing solar panel, and we will certainly increase. Our ambitious target is to become net zero company, net zero country. So certainly solar energy will be another option. But as of now, as the population is growing, as the industry is growing, as the demand is growing, coal will continue to do. And with these words, I just want to say that for becoming self-reliant, we have to stress upon increasing the indigenous production, and we have to do the import lesser and lesser, and ultimately we have to import. No import should be, coal import should be there, and we have to develop coal blocks, and certainly private parties have also been given allotted coal blocks, and they will be producing in next 2, 3, 5 years. So we will become self-reliant. With these words, I am again thanking Policy Times, Alumni Association of JNU, CPEC, and Green India, and other organizations, which is doing a very good work by organizing this seminar training program. And this training program will go a long way in enabling the participants to understand the mining legislations, environmental legislation concerning coal mining, coal washing, and others. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sri Rathod sir, for your very comprehensive, presentation, starting from coal, the historical background that you took us through. I will quickly move towards our next speaker, Mr. David Pichamuthu sir, who graduated from IIT Dhanbad, then worked for 24 years in Collieries in Tata Steel, rising to the various senior posts, then worked for around a decade, 10 years as managing director of Almora Magnesite, Uttarakhand, and then he was also 2 times president of FIMI, a very important association in this domain, and then also a fellow of Institute of Engineers. Sir, over to you for your elaborative remarks on this subject. Sir, you have to unmute.
It's okay?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Please go
on. Thanks to Mr. Huck and all the other organizers and my greetings to all the participants in this webinar. I would like to focus less on the actual data or the legislation and try to give an overall picture in which direction I think, in my opinion, we should be moving. As our distinguished speaker earlier said, coal is a very important thing for our energy, and it is at the moment the most important element. And as we know that Coal India is the major producer, there are some smaller producers. Also, there are companies like Tata Steel who produce coal, but it is consumed for their own use. So we will not touch on that just now. So the coal will be there and continue to be there for a long time as far as India is concerned. Now, when the nationalization took place, that is first the coking coal in 1971, and then the non-coking coal in January 1973, the picture started to change. At that time, our production consisted of maybe 90% was from underground and only 10% used to be from open cast. Now, over the years, that gradually changed for various reasons. One of them, of course, is economy. It is much cheaper to produce coal from the open cast mines. And the other is that it is much easier. Technically, it's much easier. It is just excavation. Of course, we are going in for larger and larger equipment, as our speaker earlier said, 240-ton dumpers are also there for overburden removal. But this has caused its own problems in the way, because the damage to the environment is much more in the open cast mines. And anybody who has seen any of the coal fields will vouch for this. So vast areas have been dug up, and then we have to now look at the environment angle of that. So the other serious issue which is likely to come up, you see, we have mined the open cast mines in I will say from the easier areas, easily available areas. But I foresee a problem because I think we are gradually running out of areas where we can have open cast mines, because they have their requirements. It has to be fairly shallow and thick seams are required. Otherwise, we'll be mining more of overburden and less of coal. So this is gradually happening. So we have to prepare for that. And secondly, the coal which has to be used for power plants, our coal is very high in ash. And not only high in ash, it is what is called, a lot of it is inherent ash. If anybody has seen what is going on or what was going on in UK, the coal is what they call in situ deposit. So coal, wherever it has formed, it is there still, and they are mining it. So the impurities are very low and they are very easily separatable. In fact, the pitheads, they just have like a physical equipment. The shales get separated and you get 90 very extremely high grade of coal. There's some disturbance. Yeah. So this is what is happening. So the washing becomes almost an essential part of our coal production and usage. Now, one of the things which could be done, because as the rejects are also produced in large quantities, the higher the ash, the more the rejects. So one area which I think we have neglected is the use of washery rejects for power production. That there is that fluidized bed combustion which the W.R.T BHEL had pioneered. And I remember in Tata Steel, way back in the 1970s and 80s, a 10 megawatt power plant was set up, and based on only the washery rejects. So this is something which I think has to be taken care of in the overall picture. We can't go on throwing away the rejects, because that is again causing land degradation. And the requirement of water and electricity is there, of course. But I don't think we can avoid the coal washing because of the nature of our coal and the high ash content. Then the renewable part of it, we have to now think about the environment has to be a holistic picture you have to take that because we depend on coal, but now gradually the renewable energy is taking front seat, in which solar power is one of the major things. The other thing where we are again not giving much attention, which will have a major impact on environment, is the burning of these residues from the fields. Every year you hear about the burning of the stubble in Haryana, in Punjab, and Delhi pays the maximum price for it. I think one of the most polluted cities in the world is Delhi, and quite a lot of it is blamed on this burning of the stubble. So this is again something where more R&D will be required and funds may be required to be diverted there. This should be part of our overall environment management plan. So what is power production from rejects? Secondly, investing more in solar power and biomass production of energy. And the solar, the problem, of course, as you know, for the solar cells, we are depending on imports from China. Now, this is again something which the Ministry of Mines, Ministry of Environment should get together and see that our exploration and production of minerals, particularly the rare earth elements and others which are required for these solar panels. So this should be given priority. So what I would suggest is that this forum is a very good one with all these eminent scientists, eminent practitioners. We should suggest an overall policy where you take into concern everything, including burning of these residues, using the washery rejects, and things like that, so that overall the picture will affect our environment, the degradation of the environment. And secondly, I think, as I mentioned, since we are running short of places to mine open cast coal, gradually we'll have to now go back to our underground mines, which are, of course, the coal will be costlier, but it's a trade-off. You have to pay something to achieve the goals for the environment management. So these are just a few points I thought I will place before this August audience, and we can take it forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for briefly again taking taking us towards this area of discussion. Now, may I request our next speaker, very, very important, Shri Chittaranjan Mahali, sir, who heads the EHS at Tata Steel SEZ in Odisha. Let me just say a few words about Mahali, sir. So Mahali, sir, a very competent leader with over 21 years of experience in the field of environment, health and safety, management and sustainability in airport, power, steel, pollution control, cement, oil and gas. A very highly qualified professional, having in this waste management, emergency preparedness in field. Sir has a very detailed, expertise on various environment legislations, regulations, policies, as well as bringing practical solution to all of them. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Akram. Namaskar, all. And today, today this topic is current environment legislation and regulation with respect to the coal mines and the coal washery sector for the sustainability and self-reliance in India. Mainly, the coal is the very vital mineral, the mineral for the modern development of the modern world. When every system is going on without power, we cannot sustain. That means basically now the major source of this power is the coal. now we are going to recent development of the recent review of 2021 December. The Ministry of Coal is India review. Just short time, I can explain what are the main major recently changes in the coal mine sector. Basically, first they have reviewed the single window clearance launches the speed of the operational of the coal mines, and a coal import monitoring system is introduced, and overall coal uptake, the in Coal India Limited and ACL in 2021 up to November is stood the 645.32 million tons, and norms of the commercial coal mines absorption is liberalized, and two rounds of the recently, the two rounds of 28 coal blocks of the Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Maharashtra as option, and 99 coal mines place for the fourth latest round of the option. And now the achievement of this sector to how the environmental friendly and achieve the green initiative have taken. Mainly the policy, recent policy in recently in month of December 27, I think it is first the basically the Colliery Control Amendment Rule 2021. Main objective of this rule is the scrutinize the relevance of the requirement of the various compliances, as well as the rationalizing, reducing of the simplifying related the process to enhance the doing the business, doing the allow the parallel compliance of the coal mines and conservation of the Development Act, the 1974 and CMCD rules 1975 has replaced the reducing the one act from the compliance burden of the Colliery Control Rule in 2004. Again, the amendment, the Colliery Control Amendment Rule is 2021, which is basically notified the public in Gazette notification of the dated 9 August 2021. These are the Colliery Control Amendment Rule and Mineral Concession Amendment Rule 2021, also Mines and Mineral Development Amendment Act 2021, and it is mainly the it is amendment in the MMDR Act 1957, the Mineral Concession Amendment Rule 1960, and this is as per the Gazette notification, which is notified in the Gazette notification, in the 1st December 2000, 1st October 2021. Basically, this rule is MCR rules 1960. The mining lease of the coal or the lignite is now the generated the government company by the corporation by the 50 years, with the granting with the MCR reforms, and this basically this granted for the which the mines are the demand to granted 50 years till 31st March 2030, whichever the latter, the state government empowered to the extend the mining lease for the period of the 20 years at the time of the Sorry, some disturbance is going. Okay. Mainly, these are the focusing. This amendment will. What are the main launching this type of rule? Recent amendment by the launching of what is the single in launching of the. These are the rule as a reform. It is we can discuss the rule wise. What are the main benefit of the this recently amendment? The launching of single window clearance. Union government, launched the single window clearance, the portal, and January 2021, the coal sector to speed operational of the coal mines, and it is unified platform to facilitate the grant of the clearance and approval of the required for the starting up the new coal mines. And setting up the second is the what are the second the setting up coal import monitoring system. There is a substantive log of the DGCI providing the import data, and consolidated import data made the available in DGCI after the lag of 2.5 months, while the discarding the data is only after the 3 month. That is a decision to reducing these things, and therefore the whole import monitoring system has been created jointly with the help of ministry and the commerce and industry. And basically next, the policy, the commercial, what are the policy is become in the force, the commercial of the coal mines already reformed. Basically, in this scenario, that is so far the 28 coal blocks has been auctioned in the state of the Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Orissa. And to estimate the benefit of the auctioner of coal of the state as well as the centers. This is the recently the Chhattisgarh have the 5 coal mines the auction, and the Jharkhand is 8, Madhya Pradesh is 8, Maharashtra is 4, and Odisha is 3. Total 28 coal mines has been auctioned. And in second round of the auction, commercial mining of the 11 block of the single bid has been decided, and third round, that is auction in the 88 coal mines has been offered to the auction, and Union Minister of the Coals and Parliamentary Affairs, Mr. Prahlad Joshi, launched the fourth latest tranche of the auction of the 99 coal mines, including the 24 new mines in 16 December 2024. What I am telling this, what are how many the mines is there, how many auction is there. After this successful auction of the 28 coal mines, the first 2 trains upon the received the 53 bids of the 20 coal mines. And as per the MMDC Act, and basically in this auction, there is a other in 29th setting up the then how do these are the auction scenario, and how do the setting the coal washery as per the government notification. Then the government plan to increase mainly the supply of the wash coal to the steel sector, like the 3 to 15 metric million tons of the for the cooking coal washery have already commissioned, and the 3 cooking coal washery is under the construction and has been issued. And total 9 numbers of the coal washery which is under the pipeline. Out of the total 9 cooking coal washery is there. 2 cooking coal washery constructed in operational, and 4 under the construction, and LOI of the issued of the 2 washery. 1 tender and bid has been passed. And basically in this and 3 more cooking coal washery in the second phase level. And in this level, what are the conclusion, the decision? I just discussed. It is a part of the environmental, how what is the basic background, and basically what are in this, how to sustainable development this government have decided this, how to sustainable this environmental sustainable this development of the cell by the sustainable of the coal mining sectors created by the Ministry of the Coal as well as the public sector units to promote the adoption of better environmental management practice in the coal mines, thereby providing the better environment to the people working and residing nearby the area to improve the overall image of the coal sector of the country. They have taken the green initiative activity, the social environmental responsibility, and the green initiative activity undertaken by the government. They have initiated and improve the public means precipitation of the coal mines by the coal mines tourism, and they have developed the 4 eco park has been completed, and the one foundation stone laid by the 5 eco park till October end tak ho jayega, and two more eco park has been completed by the 2020 and 21, and two in each 2020-22 and 23-24. And this next initiative, they have taken the bio reclamation of the mines out area for the plantation in the free area in the around of the coal mines, and the cumulative achievement of the 435 hectares and the plantation up to the 130 lakhs of sampling up to. These are the planning stage by the, they have already this completed that October 2021 against the target of the 5,400 hectares and the 130 lakhs of the plant 2020-22, and the supply of the mine waters to the domestic use, the utilization of mine water for the potable and the irrigation purpose, and the green initiative has been taken by the government. And the successful launch the Vriksharopan Abhijan, like 2021, the green initiative was rolled out by the launching Vriksharopan Abhijan in August 2021, and in the by the Ministry of the Coal, Railway, and the senior officer they have taken. And around the 6.9 lakhs of the seedling have been sample species were planted. The conserving area of the 500 acres spread the 38 districts in the and 12 states. And the Vriksharopan Abhijan is continued full phase in the sustainable manner. These are the more benefit by the government have taken the initiative. It is also the known by the every individual. And next, what are the initiative have taken the utilization of the mine water for the community as per the social CSR activity. The whole company or the public sector unit to provide the good water to the community. More than the 15 lakhs population fed this village, and they are providing the as well as the irrigation and domestic irrigation water and the drinking water supply for the villages. And the environmental audit has been taken care. The process of the environmental audit for the 35 mines started, and the process of the eco study of the 10 mines has been started. These are the update, these are the update by taken care by the recent amendment of the government. And basically how to easy up the process, as well as the environmental monitoring, environmental management system for the coal mines, and the initiative, the better initiative, if you burn the coal, I mean, it's more producing the ash, and also the producing your PM, your the IPP thermal power plant, the PM level to government of India, Ministry of Forest and Environment is now the purpose of the FGD is compulsory for the all the thermal power plant which is producing the power, and also you reducing the NOx and SOx level to the atmosphere. And these are the major initiative by the government as well as the industrial sector, the project proponent or the industrial sector to initiate what are the our we are producing. We can minimize the pollution level and the sustainable manner and take care of our environment. This is the major initiative. If you would taken, then our environmental is the pollution free, and also the green air for our system. That's all. This is a very last time. Then thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Akram. to give the opportunity to speak about this forum.
Thank you so much, Mahali sir. This was really very elaborative, coming from Tata Steel SEZ. Now we will move on to Adani, and then we'll come back to Tata again, just for some break. So may I request now Professor Satish Kumar Sinha, who is also the Associate Vice President Sustainability at Adani Enterprises Limited Natural Resources. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Akramji, and thank you, organizers, JNU, Policy Times, particularly Dr. Dheeraj, who has been my old colleagues and which I've discovered later on maybe. Uh, I am Dr. Satish Sinha, but for this program, I am Sri Satish Sinha because Sri stands for Self-Reliant India. So I chose and preferred Akram to put Sri in my name rather
In
dropping
fact,
Doctor.
we did, sir.
So that's on a lighter note. My esteemed colleagues and professors are here, and it's a great opportunity to listen to them. Like my colleague professor from Malaysia, I also fall in that category. I am intended to listen more and speak less, but nevertheless, this chance which I have been given, I will capitalize on this because the time is very important for all the dignitaries that listening that who are listening to us. So I will be sharing my slides. Everybody is raising concerns and sharing some worries how to go ahead and all. I have tried to put some solutions here right away. Because, sir, as Professor was telling from Malaysia, coal or no coal. Sir, I think the answer lies somewhere in between. The world is not digital, the world is analog. We have made it digital, we are trying to make it digital. But the world and the feelings and the requirements and the emotions are never digital. It is always analog. We are in the world of AI. I work in that area. But I tell you, life and emotions and needs are always analog, and we have to make and take care of. The environment is one of them. We cannot digitize environment. You have to feel it. You have to address it. So I am sharing my slides. Maybe you like it, and then probably I will go further. So let me go through that.
It is just
Yeah.
you click share below, sir. At the bottom there is a share option.
Did you
And
get
then
it?
there will have-
Did
yeah,
you get that?
I
Did
did
you
not
get
get
it?
the PPT.
Yeah, PPT, you got it?
No, sir. Have
My
you
PPT is
mailed?
not available. Okay, just a minute.
I did not have. I don't have your PPT. So if you
Okay.
you can mail me, then I can also.
Uh,
Or it's very easy
PPT.
to share. You just
Yeah,
at the
I'm
bottom.
just doing it. No issues. No issues. Please do that. Yeah. But the meanwhile, I just
You can
continue
continue.
my talk. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible. Just make it
Okay.
full screen. There's a below. There is a cup sign. If you click there, it will be full screen.
Below the
Below,
cup side.
on your just the last point below at the bottom,
Last point below at the bottom.
like there is a sign of a cup actually.
Yeah.
Below, bottom, not up.
Cup
The
sign.
last sign before the zoom in, zoom out. Not that below, just in the PPT.
Cup sign is there.
Yeah. After that, the next one. Not that side, on the opposite side. The next one. Your cursor's opposite side. Yeah. And it's fine. You can see a cup sign after that percentage thing. The zoom in and zoom out, no? On your left. That is right. The left thing.
That one? Click that.
No. That the opposite side of that, sir.
The
The opposite side of 85%. Yes, the first. After that, no, don't do that.
Oh, this one, this one.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, we can see. Please go on, sir.
All right. That's why I was telling, the world is not digital. The world is analog, you see. So this is the mission of our company, which I am serving, Adani Growth with Goodness. And this statement of theirs inspired me. And uh, I came from IIT Dhanbad to this place 1 year back and heading this sustainability department and trying to put my pie, whatever the society has invested in me so far 30 years in the industry and academia. I'm trying to give back as a head of sustainability. And so, so India is a mineral-rich country, and particularly coal is especially bountiful in this country. And we have vast opportunity to grow. So, but the thing is, either we stop mining or we continue mining in the same manner, that is not going to solve. The answer lies in sustainable mining. And sustainable mining, we shall show you some of the roadmap, how we are trying to achieve, because sustainability comes not only about being economic viability, it should also be ecological viability, and it should also be necessarily social viability. So that we have worked out. So these are some compliances for different acts. I will not go into that EP Act and Water Act, which began from UNCHE 1972. Then we came into the beginning of control and command kind of thing. Then Air Act 1981, Forest Conservation Act in 1980 came, and I have written a word called accounting for ecosystems. We have to search for opportunities, that where we are finding some opportunities to capitalize, to contribute, and to tell the world that here lies the opportunity. It's not forest obligations are mere a liability onto us. There is an opportunity. We can give back better forest, better ecosystems, if because we are handling with 3,000 hectares of land, 5,000 hectares of land in open cast mining, as you know. Somebody was telling open cast mining is very costly. True, but underground mining economically is truly not becoming viable in the first place. So people are shifting to open cast mining. And because open cast, we don't have any system of accounting of externality benefits and the wildlife losses. So we are very happy with the situation. Actually, the person is true that open cast mining is rather more costly, but we are not accounting for that. On the other hand, also we can contribute the ecosystems. Why not? If we have taken some open forest and we are planting very good kind of the biodiversity, bringing in flora, fauna, we are contributing to the ecosystem. Let us take it that way. There lies the answer actually. We have Indian Forest Act made by Britishers. If you go through the provisions of that, there are something which really prevents to enter into forest, and the purpose was to that was their purpose. We can customize it for our benefit, preventing the ethnic attributes of the forest, and at the same time allowing it for the. But we have got Forest Rights Act also in the place nowadays. Then when we are coming to mining, so plenty of host, we are mining engineers, so we have devoted our lifetime in studying Mines Act and subordinate legislations called CMR Mines Rules. All these, what I am telling is, you have the laws abiding is minimum there, and that is for your own benefit. My first slide says that it is a financially lucrative proposition if you really abide by that. Otherwise, if something goes wrong, you pay 10 times of that. Had you been following that, that would have been an easier proposition. But in the uh, absence of patience, you say, or whatever, we take the shortcuts, and it is easier said than done. However, we have seen in the industry, but it is always now. I think I have grayed my hairs. I can really recommend that There's no point being impatient. You better follow it. The environmental laws are really, really financially rewarding for you. If you save coal, Washery, water getting into the river, you are saving your coal dust also and saving the river also. So let us move forward. There are plenty of laws, LARR 2013, CBA 1957 for government companies, but for coal gasification and coal to oil, government is also thinking of allowing CBA to private entrepreneurs. You see, the progressive government is thinking about you. Now it is our turn to capitalize on those opportunities which they are giving from the distance. CSR, everybody is doing some CSR for some sake. Don't go for publicity. You just quantify the benefits you have made to the externalities. How many startups you have brought in? How many, I mean, entrepreneurs you have brought in? How many skill building you have done it? The country is absolutely devoid of these skills. We are producing plus two, BA, MA, MSc, and creating a liability to the government and for asking for jobs, including people like us also. What we have been. We have been just a BTech holder and asking for jobs. But now we see that there is an opportunity that we can create in the name of CSR. In our time, there was no CSR. Then it was called CD, community development, something of hand pump and some schools here and there. Nowadays, it is structure program. So social entrepreneurship, social engineering, and accounting. I am very much after that. Since I am now with the you can Adani Enterprises and you have to convert things into tangible returns also. So we can quantify externality benefits as well, and this is possible. We are doing this. Flyest notification has recently come on 31st December 2021, and but they are taking it as a very dreaded kind of notification. So why it is that liability? Otherwise, you are filling it here, there, spoiling land, spoiling water. You can make bricks out of that. You make stowing out of that. You can make just apply your mind and do that. But again, diversity. I have got something to say to you. Kindly bear with me. Akramji has given me some hints, so I'm encouraged. So Biologically Diversity Act 2002 was there, but my friend was involved in its amendment. He's going to probably amended it or what? 2022 we are going to amend it. So draft was ready. The parliament had given an opinion on that. It is going to be done. So again, I was also contributing my pie that how much diversity is important. At any cost, diversity of any country, of any society, of any biological thing, or any ecosystems should never be rounded down. It is your resilience, it is your strength. Wildlife Conservation Act is again rewilding the things. Only humans, only some cattle, not sufficient. Wildlife, rewilding of the entire ecosystem is absolutely important. The kind of contributions they are making is absolutely, we cannot forget. So you see, if you are looking at there have been some waves of environmentalism. This I presented before a panel when first time the Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister and his secretary, Mr. Narayan, was my assistant chairman. And at that point in time, I was around 30, 31 years of age. So I was full of energy. And he recommended and told that he patted my back and he told that, okay, these slides are very. So I took that slide for you after 20 years, sir. So 1970s was an era where we started environmental control and command, environmental management by control and command. Recently, United Nations Conference on Environment had happened, and 1972 it had happened. 1974 we came with the water laws, then Air Act, etc., etc. So 1970 was about control and command. Development was seen to be an activity. Something is happening, dam is coming, people will the image of mining company. Miners are coming, say we shall be robbing the forest, robbing the rivers, robbing the diversity. Plenty of names are there. We can correct it. We can correct it by following. Scientists believe that no, poverty is the best polluter. Prime Minister Mr. Indira Gandhi was also very much of this statement. Again, she this statement, poverty pollution. So poverty, we perceive that is a polluter, and then we thought that no, development and environment management can go together, and it must go together. But in the millennium, development is the prerequisite for environmental conservation. Development is the prerequisite. Unless you are developed, you cannot be an environmental scientist. So you have to be developing. You have to be developing. So these days, you see, now you remember EIA, and government is also encouraging. I am fully of the opinion. EIA 1994 had come. We were just studying then 2006 it was revised. Again 2020 they have proposed amendment, and all of them are encouraging towards self-regulation for environmental protection. They are encouraging you for making your own TOR, your own commitment, you do it. And there is a body called MOEF and SPCB and norms making CPCB. People are there, they are wise people, they are guiding you, suggesting you. But you have to be honest in your approach, and they are enabling you, let us capitalize them. Then reducing this millennium is about renewables. We are very much after that. Even I must tell you that in Adani, one of the mines, we have proposed 10 megawatt of solar plant in a Parsa mine at Chhattisgarh, and 50 crores of rupees we have invested in this capital budget for this purpose alone. So this is one contribution that is being felt these days. Reducing carbon footprints is the everybody talking about. We are mailing ESG metrics. We are preparing dashboard to monitor, and a lot of things are happening. I am using my people in a great way and trying to match the promise of the Prime Minister of reducing the 1 billion ton reduction by 2020 that we have committed over there. Rewiring, I am happy I have written that. Restore ecosystem services and concerns of externalities. So you see, mining, mostly challenges are not of mining type. Mining, mostly challenges we are facing is of land, mostly from stakeholders. Nobody asks from where, what type of blasting techniques you are using. They are using how you are addressing people. But mainly challenges of CSR, environment and forest clearance. Every time we are running after complying to those standards, not complying partially, complying EDS, so many things are happening. So mainly issues is not mining and transportation. Mainly issues is of these types of non-mining type. Ecosystem services, forest conservation, socio-economic issues. So we have to, miners are required to evolve from a land breaker to earth maker. From a land breaker to earth maker. We have lost our image in the past 30, 40 years, 50 years. So we have to be evolving ourselves by our conduct, and from minehood to earthhood. So, and I have created a model like that. So not the empty talks only. It is the economy, ecology and society. Then comes carrying capacity, accountability and conservation. Then comes gender equity, diversity and democratic. If you look at all these things, then and monitor all these parameters, then from no coal or coal will not be the option. You will have many midways which takes you to sustainable mining options. And the country with such a large resource of coal, you cannot ignore that. It is just not ignorable. There is a way, and responsibility lies on technocrats like us, that to create middle ways, sustainable mining methods to happily and rather give a better earth forthwith, better ecosystem forthwith, better externalities and better society forthwith. So, and for but for which it is not coming by empty talks. You have to monitor parameters like resilience, carrying capacity, accountability, conservation. Had it been a 3 hour class, I would have taken in more detail, but I am just giving you a glimpse of that. And this paper has been published in an international journal, JCLP, Journal of Clean Air Production, of which I am showing you this slide. I've defined these parameters also. Economy, ecology, society, you know that. Then carrying capacity I've defined. Conservation is a one word which we have not understood so. Conservation is consumed with care. And we have not really done conservation. We are only consuming, but with no care. So there is not conservation. Entire Jharia fire is because of lack of understanding of this conservation. My PhD is on that, so I can tell you. So accountability, you have to be accountable for your actions and the resources that have been accounted with us. Likewise, democratic, gender equity, very important dimensions of sustainability. Women and sustainable development and sustainability, etc. Diversity is the essence of any resilience, any systems resilience. And you see one recent thing which I have learned, that nature is diverse, and you need to, and we miners, we need to encourage diversity for achieving sustainability. As a process engineer, what we do, we capture feature, we capture pattern, and we try to minimize variations, standard deviation and minimize deviation, Six Sigma, etc. So, but nature is something which is asking for something else. They are asking for promoting the diversity. So, so it is not about always minimizing variations and achieving something good. Nature, mining, that's what I was telling in the beginning, that 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 it is not that simple. It is not digital. It is analog. Life is analog. Nature is analog. Mining is analog. So you have to sometimes encourage variation, and most of the time in mining cases. And we are very much with AI, deep learning, quantum computing. I'm very hopeful about quantum computing, that if we can find some solutions for nature like that. So sustainable practices. Let us come to the ground back. A blast-free mine is my desire. Dumper-free, bulk material handling is my desire, and we are trying to get it done. In one of a new mine, I am proposing that. Nanotechnologies, advanced grade classification and separations, very smart mining we need to do. Green hydrogen and biofuel, etc. We are trying automation. Full of automation possibilities are there. All the dangerous and all the dirty job can be done by robotics, IoT, and all this. Who is preventing us to do it? And with so many IITs, 23, 24 IITs, NITs, IIS here, who is stopping us? Miners, we miners, every day we are generating data. If the face moves, we generate data. But we are not behaving as a data company. We can be a very major data company. One of my book chapter is coming in Rajiv Malhotra's book, AI for Prediction in Mining. That chapter is contributed by me. So there I have written how AI can make you a predictor. Earlier, mining was considered to be a hazardous profession. Now you have reworded it, mining as a predictive industry by using data analysis, artificial intelligence, deep learning techniques, etc. etc. So miners to earth entrepreneurs is my word. Social entrepreneurship, mined out land into which I'm not getting this thing, into agricultural land, golf ground, water bodies, carbon sink, adventure tourism. You see, in Uttarakhand, what we did, there's like that, and then minimizing carbon footprints, maximizing handprints, that is about social contributions, CSR. CSR is of two types, comparative advantage defying and comparative advantage following. If you do with the need assessment, you make schools in a younger villages, that is the comparative advantage following, that will be sustainable. And if you make a schools for 50 years villagers, then it will be defined, it will not sustainable. So like that, we have put some thoughts and hope that, and I have also made a kind of graph for you, three dimensions of triangle ecology, economy, and society. If you make a balance, the area will be just, it should be balanced, this and this, ecology, economy, and society, and the resultant area should be coming to zero. If it is zero, then it is sustainable. If it is bigger area, it is unsustainable. So yes, these are some thoughts I'm telling, that details can be shared with you, but answer lies in sustainable mining, because India is a very mineral-rich country. We can apply to coal, non-coal. It is a gift to the nation by the Almighty. Let us capitalize this. Let us benefit the community also, and let us benefit the economy also. Thank you very much. There may be no future without mining, but there will be no mining without caring about our future. This is a statement from the violet.com, and with this I close it. Thank you, GRC and JNU and FMG and Dr. Dinesh.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sinha, for the very elaborate presentation, and very nice actually, putting up all the acts together and made it a very nice presentation. Now we have a very important, before I invite actually our next speaker, Dr. Hishmi Hussain, I have a very important speaker, a policymaker of this country, Sri Munna Shah sir, who is the Honorable Joint Director, who has extensive experience and work in the field of government as well as industry. Sir is some of the lucky people of the country who having equal exposure to both. Sir is currently working after the environmental clearance for coal mining, thermal, hydro, river valley projects in IA division of the ministry. Sir has worked with Tata Steel before as member, and then also with Reliance, two of the largest companies of this country. So over to Munna sir has been also extensively contributing in the field of bringing new technological solutions and now at the policy level. So over to you, sir. Kindly share your keynote remarks.
Thank you, Akramji. Thank you, Dr. Dheeraj, for inviting me. It's good to gather here on my subject, and it's better to hear some of the good wise words from the big corporate houses like Tata and Adani, and that too on the front of environment. Anyway, they're good people and they're good work. They're good workhorse to work on the environment front as well as the mining area. So
we can see your son is disturbing you there.
Yes, that's
absolutely fine, sir.
So I work in the area of coal mining, as introduced by Mr. Akram. That I have been looking after this coal mining sector from last 3 years, and I had an opportunity to meet this few people from Coal India. I have an opportunity to meet many of the person from Coal India people who work on the front of the mining and having practical experiences. And being in the side of regulatory front, we have to see their domain also, that where they lack and where they can contribute ourselves in the field of mining. So while stipulating the conditions, while recommending the conditions, or while sitting in the EAC's meeting, we think of their problems also. For example, R&R, reclamation, practical problems of OB dumps, safety issues also. So those kind of things we look after, and then only we stipulate those conditions so that it can be implementable. Otherwise, it won't be any nice to implement stipulate those conditions which are not at all implementable at all. So I was listening about Adani, Professor Sinha. So he was one of the EAC member and now retired from ISM. So he knows much of the things. He knows much of the work in EACs. How does it work? And now coming to the coal mining and coal washeries, as per EIN notification, 1A schedule, as per schedule, 1A comes for coal mining sector, and 2A comes for coal washery. And one of the so greater than 150 hectare, we look after as a category A, and less than that, it goes to SIA. And for coal washery, if it is greater than 1 million ton, we look after as a category A, and less than that, it will go to SIA of respect to state governments. So on the front of reviewing and the proposals submissions, please. So we look the project proponents applies their proposals on Parivesh portal. We face some of the difficulties during during the submissions of those during our examinations of those proposals. Maybe sometimes the incorrect data or some incomplete submission, so we have to raise an EDS for that. So that's the procedure we follow here. After that EDS, we take those proposals to EACs, where the review of all those proposals happens. Normally, if you see the history, for example, I am here for last 3 years, and if you see the historical background of last 3 years, we give around 2 or 3 ADSs, or we ask from additional documents if it is incomplete or complete or requires certain other inputs for EAC members. So we ask certain ADSs, and then after the submission of compliance of that observation of EACs, we recommend those ECs. So if you see the timeline from last 3 years, if you we have been discussing in the ministry also how to reduce the time of number of ECs and how to reduce the time to grant those ECs. So in recent meetings also in our meetings at Delhi, in our offices, we have to give a briefing, or we have to say that these are the number of days we are taking for giving these ECs, and we have to continue to improve that. So raising ADSs, it's we have to limitation of the ADSs we have to reduce, so that coming back so that can reduce, and whatever ask them and give ECs in 1 or 2 goes itself. So if you see the historical, like 3 or 4 years, we have been reducing the time gap for granting the ECs, which is our vision of the government of India also, for ease of doing business. And and right now, if you know, like one of the speakers said that there is the auctioning of coal blocks is happening, and for commercial mining, even private sectors are coming. Mostly, if you see, 75 or 80% of the coal is being explored by Coal India itself, and now the private sector is coming up for commercial mining auction, and some of the captive mines are there which are being handled by General Tata and for the and Adani. So commercial mining is taken up by the private sector, so and they have their own. There is no limitation of captive. They can mine and they can explore or sell anything to anybody. It's up to them. So we have been receiving those proposals, and we will be. And there are other proposals also regarding coal washeries. Somebody told one of the speaker told about washery rejects. Yeah, it is understandable that washery rejects is a problem in India, and we however however the siting location of those washeries is important. If the washery locations can be sited near the coal mine or pit head itself, the transportation of coal and washed coal and even the rejects can be reduced, and accordingly those rejects can be either be dumped at the OB itself, or if the power plant is nearby to them, that if it is and it has a good calorific value, it can be given to the FBC power plants or thermal power plants. That too by the same racks or rail wagons where washed coal or coal is being transported. Okay, and one of the speaker told about OB and stripping ratio, basically higher OB in nowadays. We have been facing this problem. We have been seeing this. There are many proposals where stripping ratio is 1:14, 1:10 by maybe Singaran. There are most of the higher stripping ratio is in Singarani and Western Coalfield areas. So those we are trying to, when we appraise it, when we see the proposals, we try to reduce the degradation of virgin land, so that they can have a progressive mine closure features in that, and then they can reduce those virgin land, so that the mining also cannot get impacted, and they can overall balance their mining activity. even if Even if they want to have that increase in they can increase the height by of OB dumps by 90 meter to even 150. If you see, there are mines in northern coalfield where the heights are 150 meters above. Since all the Singrauli belt is having coal, and the stripping ratio is high, they have to have certain land and balance themselves, so they are increasing the height. However, the radar technology for a stability test, it recent development is there, so they are monitoring those stability of OB dumps through those radar technology also. So this was the one I heard about OB dump. So it's OB height, OB stripping ratio, higher stripping ratio. So I just wanted to respond on that. And regarding now, I would be happy to answer any of the questions if you have any clarification regarding that. And anyway, we are at the ministry. We don't intend to. I would say the ministry is right now pursuing on the goal of reducing the time gap for granting those ECs, so that quality EC can be granted, quality stipulation of conditions can be given, and at the same time, the speed or the nature of giving those ECs or times should be reduced. So that's all from my side. Thank you, Dr. Dheeraj, for inviting me for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor to hear you, actually. Now, may I now move ahead and invite Dr. Hishmi Hussain, who is the head biodiversity and corporate sustainability of Tata Steel, to kindly make the presentation. Mr. Let me unmute you.
And request Munna sir to to be a part of our question answer session also.
Sure, I'm here. Sure, I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hishmi sir, please unmute yourself and you can start the presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, Akram. Thank you, the organizer, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, but your video is off.
Yeah, please switch. Please share my presentation. I am facing little difficulty in bandwidth, so you can share my presentation.
Just one sec. Yeah, is this the presentation?
Yeah, Akram. Thank you.
Please go.
So please go to the next slide. Yeah. So I think it is very pertinent, and my turn when I'm talking about these 7 items in my presentation. The previous speakers has already been explained the integrity of the environmental laws. They've talked about the Water Act. They talked about the detail of the mining. What are the challenges? And the major challenge with all the people, the world is not understanding that the coal is essential for us. When we are talking that the coal is essential for us, we need to also understand that there is a problem, there is an elephant in the room, and we need to manage it. And during the COP26, people have committed, people have talked about not to do the coal mining, but it is something essential for the development of the growth of this globe. I will talk about what are the damages because of the coal. We know that if we understand about the problem, then we can treat it. And the treatment is the sustainable mining. So once we are aware these are the legislation, once we are aware that these are the frameworks which need to follow, then the sustainable mining principles are the panacea for the problem which we are having, which we need to resolve it. I will briefly speak about the regulatory framework. My colleague from MOEF has explained the MOEF is working about reducing the time frame of these approvals. I will also brief the real challenge or the real problem in getting the approval if you see the framework around the time frame. I will also talk about the initiatives which we are having around sustainable mining. Can we go to the next slide, please? So coal is one of the most abundant and it is the least expensive fossil fuel, which is meeting about 40% of the global worldwide power generation. There is a significant impact on environment because of the coal mining. This picture you can see there is a forest and there is a small amount of the coal seams and the whole land is going to be disturbed when we are doing such kind of mining. And this is essential because we need to provide the development, we need to provide the growth and impetus, we need to remove these masses. And that is the reason there is a drainage problem, there is a heavy metal problem. So the problem is very big because it is impacting to the environment, it is impacting to the human health, and the size of this problem is very big. So these are the problems associated with the coal, and we need to manage it. And the management is not impossible. You have perhaps seen the responsible miners of the world. They are doing the mining since 50 years and they are managing the environment. Can we go to the next slide, please? So in this slide, I want to explain you the concept of the natural capital, and we are consuming the natural capital. We are impacting the environment by cutting the forest. We are getting the benefit from this resource the God has given us. And what is happening basically, this is the business risk. There is a cost effectiveness, there must be a benefit because the business will run only when there is a benefit. And as the sustainability principle, it is important to understand that there must be a balance between the economic development, the social development, and the environmental impact. So these things can be managed with the help of surveillance by satellites, and the organizations are doing this plantation of a green belt. And to minimize the environmental impact, there is the environment management plan, which is essentially required when we are talking about the coal mining. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the key major area, the air pollution, the water pollution, the land degradation, and loss of the vegetation. So under the Air Act, we talk about how we can manage the air pollution. We have given the stringent laws around it. Around the water pollution, under Water Act, again there are stringent law and consent to operate condition, consent to establish condition, the environment clearance condition. So these are very tough condition if you ask any miner. So these are the difficult conditions. Land degradation, again, under the mine plan as well as under the forest diversion. This is something that you need to manage it. Loss of the vegetation, for that you need to do the compensatory afforestation. So in the commonly, if we are talking about a open cut mining, and most of the mines are open cut, exceptional are only few. The underground mine in Jharia and other region, eastern part of India. So you perhaps see that you need to make a mining spoil. Because of this mining, there are the flood causes and there is a degradation to the environment. Nevertheless, we know the size of a problem, we can manage it. Can we go to the next slide, please? So these are the 5 stages of any of the mine development. Once you do the exploration, you need to clean the or clear the vegetation, then you are cutting or removing the soil. The development, again, it is the next stage of the development of a mine, the active mining, the disposal, and the site reclamation. So these 5 stages are very important, and the footprint of the problem has reduced or increased based on the activity and based on the situation of the location of the geography where we are present. Can we go to the next slide? These are the top 10 sustainable mining principles. These are the sustainable mining principles which are constituted by uh, International Council for Mining and Metals. Similarly, the India Federation of Indian Mining and Minerals also translated these 10 principles in our language to implement in India. The first thing is ethical business and the corporate governance. So whatever we are doing, it should be ethical and it should be a governance, the corporate clear governance, the sustainable development, human rights, respect to the culture, risk management. When we are talking about the risk management, it is clearly indicated when we are on an exploration stage, there are different kind of risk associated to the environment. There are different kind of risk associated to the business. When we are on the development stage, then there are the different kind of environmental risks. There are different kind of health safety risks. Similarly, seeking the continuous improvement of the health and the safety of the people and the area where we are working, the environmental performance, the ISO 14001 and other ISO standards are basically guiding and helping to the businesses to conserve the environment. Conservation of the biodiversity, we all know because of mining, we are impacting the biodiversity. So it is essentially required under the Forest Act and under the Environment Act. we need to conserve the biodiversity. If we are having scheduled one animal in the area where we are working, we definitely need to make wildlife conservation plan. If our project area is within the 10 kilometer of any conservation, the wildlife corridor or any protected area, then we need to take the approval from the Wildlife Board of India. Again, design your mine in such a way that it must having a responsible design which is having reuse, recycle, and the disposal. These are the mantra of the sustainability or environment conservation. There must be a social contribution of your activity. There must be economic and the institutional development of the community. And overall, there must be engagement with government, engagement with all the stakeholders. Whosoever is around the business, they must get the benefit of the activity. Can we go to the next slide, please? If we are able to implement these 10 principles, and Government of India has already laid out some of the best practices ensuring the sustainable coal mining in India. MOF continuously supporting and giving the guidance to the industry how well they can do best way of doing the mining. And similarly, the Center Pollution Control Board is one of the enforcement agency which is held by the regional or the state pollution control boards. And the end result you can see in this picture that you have done a mining and you have reclaimed the mine into again a new ecosystem or ecosystem restoration. So this regulatory framework is essentially understand for all of us if we want to do the coal mining. Can we go to the next slide, please? Previous speaker has explained the importance of the economic, social, and environment aspect for the sustainability. I will briefly talk about that. It is important for the economic sustainability. It is important for improvement of the product and the service. There is a competition that your coal quality must be better, your cost must be less, there must be a strong management system in place, there must be a technological development. Now the Internet of Things and digitization is helping significantly to achieve these aspects. The social aspects are very important. We must consider the community health and the community development, education of the people. We are talking about the sustainable development goal. We are talking about the Agenda 2030. And the Agenda 2030 can be achieved with the help of sustainable mining by providing sustainable livelihood, promoting the sports, women empowerment, improving the occupational safety and health. And the environmental aspect are nevertheless because environmental laws are definitely are the commitment for all of us to do decrease our effect on the environment, do the biodiversity conservation and the sustainable resource of the sustainable use of the resources. Can we go to the next slide, please? I just make this slide bit simple. So just full block auction is happening. Everyone is know, and this topic is also important for the people who are participating in such kind of the auctions. So principally, if there is a R&R, resettlement and rehabilitation and the land acquisition is required, then you need 48 months. So these are the minimum times I am indicating. You definitely require the environment clearance. It requires 24 months. If your mine area is in the forest area, you require 30 months. So you perhaps see this time frame is very critical and essential to understand when we are talking about the legal framework or the environmental framework. Because the workflow, the budget allocation, the market condition, the expectations, all will be dependent on this time frame, and you need about 5 years to complete all this procedure from whole block auction to start the mine. It is minimum 5 year time is required. So that is a time where you can understand, you can build a strong database on environmental baseline. You can understand the risk associated with the coal mine. You can understand what are the legal compliances could be for us in future, as now the world is talking about COP26. The world talked about the COP21, the Paris Accord so much. And now there is a time to meet the Agenda 2050. Our commitment, the Government of India is committing the no net loss, net decarbonization by 2070. So we need to understand this time frame and the productivity of our business. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I'm sure in this time frame you are able to understand that what are the environmental act regulation, the impact of the coal mining, the sustainable mining, the time frame required it, and these are the some 10 principles which I translated in the form of a picture. The community development one corporate can do with the help of CSR policies, responsible mining, effectiveness in the transparent engagement, health safety, the integration of the sustainable development in the form of sustainable policy, the biodiversity conservation in the form of biodiversity management plan, biodiversity policy, human rights, respect, implementation of the risk management, business ethical conduct, and nevertheless the environmental performance. Can we go to the next slide? So these are my contact details. If you are having any question, I will be happy to respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your again elaborate presentation on this and giving a different perspective from Tata Steel. So wonderful to have you. Now we move to our elaborative presentation from our GRC team. May I request Ms. Udita Tomar to kindly go ahead and make an elaborative presentation, because this is a training workshop. Hence, we want our participants or people to understand the entire subject more elaborately. Mudita ji, over to you.
Sure, Mr. Akram. Good evening, everyone. I extend a warm welcome to all the participants on behalf of GRC India. And in my presentation today, I would be discussing about a brief introduction of our company, amendments in EI regulations with respect to coal mining and coal washery sector, environment clearance process, requirement of QC and ABIT accreditation, applicable OMs of Ministry of Environment with respect to these two sectors, highlights of the EC application, which includes Form 1, Form 2, PFR and EIMB report, requirements of details and documents for the EC application, half-yearly compliance of EC, CT, CTO, green tip, green YAPI, and finally the question and answer session. Starting with our company's introduction, we are a QC and ABIT accredited organization and are also ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001 certified. We have an in-house laboratory which is NABL accredited and is recognized by Ministry of Environment and Forest. We also have a non-profit organization, Search Foundation, and we are presently associated with more than 25 organizations, including Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi University, Amity, IDC Foundation, Ford School of Management, CII, SEPC, FICCI, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, SOCAM, IAIA, BRICS, IGBC, etc. We provide services with respect to environment clearance, half-yearly compliance of EC, CT, CTO, green building, design of rainwater harvesting, sewage treatment plant and effluent treatment plant, and legal advice on environment-related court cases. Our products includes GRC Green Tip, Green ERP, and Help Bharat. This is our corporate office, which is based at Sector 63, Noida. And this is our in-house laboratory. These are some of the pictures of the recent events that have been organized by our NGO Search Foundation. And we have been organizing several webinars in association with JNU and other organizations. This was to celebrate Kargil Vijay Divas on 26th of July 2020, wherein Honorable Minister of Defense Shri Rajnath Singh was the chief guest. I'll be quickly running through these slides just to give you a glimpse of our activities. This is the last in the list, which was organized on 11th of December last year. And as regards the publications, we released the monthly e-magazine Namaste Bharat, which is a joint venture of JRC India and Template Media. We are also connected with the environment magazine of RSS, Paryavaran Perspective, which is circulated to more than 5.5 lakh people across the country. These are some of our prestigious clients, and we have successfully completed more than 5,500 projects related to environment. Dr. Dheeraj Kumar Singh is the founder and managing director of JRC, and he is an MSc, MPhil, and PhD in environment science from JNU, and also holds a bachelor's degree in law. Now, talking about the amendments in the EI regulation with respect to these two sectors, as per the EI, the first EI notification of 27th January 1994, the mining projects with lease area more than 5 hectares required environment clearance from Ministry of Environment, and the application was to be made in the standard format, which included Schedule 2 and the EIMP report. Then came the principal notification of 14 September 2006, as per which any new project or activity or expansion or modernization of an existing project required a prior environment clearance from MOEF or the state level impact assessment authority, and the application included Form 1, a pre-feasibility report of the project, and an EIMP report. As per Schedule 1A, the mining, this is the abstract from this principal notification. So the mining projects are listed in Schedule 1A, and those with the mine lease area greater than or equal to 50 hectares are classified as Category A, and those with the less than 50 hectares are B. Coal washeries are listed under Schedule 2A, and those which have a capacity greater than 1 million ton per annum throughput of coal are Category A projects, and those with less than that are Category B. For both the schedules, general conditions are applicable. Well, with respect to the coal washeries, there have been no change in the EIR regulations with respect to the capacity after the principal notification. So the criteria for EC remains same with respect to coal washeries. For coal mining, there have been several amendments in the notification. This is dated 1st of December 2009, as per which the threshold for Category A cases for coal mining was increased from 50 to 150 hectares, and those with 5 hectares greater than or equal to 5 hectares or less than equal to 150 hectares were classified as Category B. In this notification, one more item was added under Schedule 1A, that is slurry pipelines of coal, lignite, and other ores which are passing through the national park sanctuaries or other ecological sensitive areas. And this is the notification of 14th August 2018, wherein the lower limit of 5 hectares was removed for Category B projects of coal mines. The environment clearance is a 4-stage process, and it starts with the screening, which is a preliminary scrutiny of the EC application for identification of any additional or essential studies to be produced for assessment of documents for EC, for grant of EC to the project. Then comes scoping, which is determining the terms of reference for carrying out an EIMP study for the project. That is followed by public consultation, wherein the public hearing is conducted in association with the State Pollution Control Board. And finally, the appraisal of the project is done by the ministry or the state authority on the basis of the final EIMP report submitted for the project. Now, this is the notification of Ministry of Environment dated 3rd of March 2016, as per which the environment consultants are required to obtain QC and NABIT accreditation for making presentation of a project before MOEF or the state committee. Now, from this section onward, I'll be discussing about the OMs which are applicable for the two sectors that have been released by the Ministry of Environment. This is dated 19th of August 2010, as per which no activity can be undertaken at the project site before the grant of environment clearance, except the fencing of the site to protect it from getting encroached and the construction of the temporary sheds for the security guard. This is dated 2nd of September 2014, as per which one-time expansion in the capacity of the coal mine projects is allowed up to 6 MTPA capacity, only if the transportation of the additional production of coal is proposed through conveyor belt or railways. This is the OM dated 7th of October 2014, wherein the Ministry of Environment has clarified that for the grant of EC, in case of the projects which are involving private land, only a credible document showing the intent of the landowner to sell the land for the project is adequate for submitting the EC application and consideration for its environment clearance. This is the notification dated 14th of September 2016, which talks about the EC validity of mining in other sectors. And for the mining projects, it is a maximum of 30 years. This is the OM dated 29th of August 2017, which talks about the validity of TOR, that is 3 years, and 1 year extension is allowed on the submission of the application within the validity period of the TOR. This OM dated 30th December 2019 prescribes the procedure for consideration of projects which are listed in the critically polluted areas. This is the OM dated 14th of May 2020, which provides flexibility in coal production of capacity irrespective of the calendar plan, subject to a maximum of the peak capacity which is allowed in the environment clearance granted to the project. This is the OM dated 4th of January 2019, wherein the Ministry the Ministry of Environment standardized the EC conditions. And from here onwards, I'll be discussing about the formats of the EC application, which are standard documents according to the EI notification and the OMs that have been released by the Ministry. The first document is Form 1, which talks about the basic information of the project and project proponent, and physical changes caused as a result of the project, consumption of natural resources, risks to human health, generation of solid waste and pollutants, and noise and vibration, risk of contamination and risk of accidents, and environmental sensitivity within 15-kilometer radius, as well as the TOR that is proposed by the project proponent. This is the format of Form 2, which is a very elaborative document, and it covers details regarding the project, the location, details of TOR and public consultation, plans or equipments, project cost, raw material or fuel consumption, baseline environment data, water, wastewater, solid waste, air quality impact, stack emissions, power demand, land ownership status and proof, ecological environmental sensitive within the study area, forest details, tree cutting, R&R, details of Schedule 1 species and core and buffer area, green belt, project benefits, sector specific details, details of court cases, and the EI consultant. Now, the pre-feasibility report of the project is also a standard format according to one of the MOU orders, and it includes details regarding the nature of the project, demand-supply gap, alternative sites considered for the project, resources optimization or recycling, climatic data, population, amenities, green belt, industrial waste, etc. As per the generic structure provided in the EI notification, and EI report has a standard 11 chapters, including introduction of the project and project proponent, project features description, description of the environment, impact analysis and mitigation measures, analysis of alternatives, environmental monitoring plan, additional studies, project benefits, environment management plan, summary and conclusion, and the disclosure of the environment consultant of the project. Now, these are some of the basic details which are required for preparing an EC application, which includes land ownership documents or the mine lease grant order, plant layout, site coordinates and photographs, project report with the technical specifications or the mine plan, the total water demand including the source and the water balance, project cost, and some documents including the cover letter for the submission of application, project proponent authorization, and the environment consultant authorization letter. As per the principal notification, it is mandatory for the project proponents to submit the half-yearly compliance of the EC conditions on 1st of June and 1st of December each calendar year. And these documents are to be made, these reports are to be made public documents by displaying on the website of the project proponent as well as the concerned regulatory authority. As per the MOF order dated 30th of May 2012 and 7th of September 2017, it is mandatory for the project proponents which are seeking environment clearance for expansion of a project to submit a certified report of the status of environment clearance conditions that have been stipulated in the earlier EC. Well, as per the MOF order of 4th of August 2021 and 7th of September 2021, it is mandatory to upload the environment clearance conditions online on the Parivesh portal of Ministry. According to the Water Act of 1974 and Air Act of 1981, it is mandatory to obtain CTNOC and CTONOC before commencement of construction activities or commencement of the operational project from the State Pollution Control Board. And both these approvals are two-tier process involving the regional and the head office of the respective SPCB. Plus the documents and the scrutiny fee also depend upon the classification of the project into red, orange, green, and white, which is available on the CPCB website. And these are the stages involved in the CT process. We submit the application online in the prescribed format of the SPCB along with the requisite fee, and the submitted documents are scrutinized by the SPCB office. In case there is any shortfall, query is raised, and on satisfactory submission of the details, the SPCB officials do a physical inspection of the site in order to assess the proposed environment management plan for the project. And finally, the CT NOC is granted in case everything is found in order. For consent to operate, also we submit the application online along with the fee, and after the scrutiny of the application, the site is physically inspected by the SPCB officials in order to see the compliance of the implementation of the conditions that were incorporated in the CT-NOC. In case everything is found satisfactory, the CT-NOC is granted, or a query is raised towards which we submit a reply, and finally the permission is granted. These are the basic details which are required to be submitted for consent to establish and consent to operate, which includes proof of deposit of fee, CA certificate for the project investment, copy of environment clearance and these application, declaration by the unit regarding the awareness of the applicable norms, land ownership documents, and the design scheme of ETP and other pollution control devices. For CTO also, we need to submit proof of deposit of fee and a copy of balance sheet, which is attested by CA for the capital investment of the project, and the permission of the concerned authority for disposal of the effluent into the external drain. Talking about GRC Green Tip and Green ERP, we have developed a technical interactive platform, which is a query management system for disseminating the environment regulations and the best practices related to the sector, and also handhold the project proponents for enabling compliance and sustainable development. We have also developed Green ERP, which is a web and app-based program that enables the industries to digitally fulfill their compliance on a real-time basis. Any questions are welcome.
Thank you so much for the extensive presentation. I think now with this we will move to our next session of question and answer. So let us have. May I invite every one of you? I'll first invite our speakers to be kindly with camera so that we can go for the question and answer. To all the audience, all the participants, all the industry leaders who are here, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. Let's be brief when we are asking the question, and also a small introduction. Also, you can ask your questions on the chat box. Our speakers will take the questions from the chat also. So, anyone would like to take ask any question? Thank you, Om Prakash ji. So, yeah, if anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. In the meantime, I'll come back to our speakers. Any point that that is coming to your mind that you would like to share, sir, at this moment?
Well, I would like to share one point.
Yeah, sir.
One of the speakers from Tata Steel told about a grant of environment clearance taking about 18 to 24 months. So I would request him to just reduce the time, because we have been giving ECC in 60 to 70 days also. So that's one of the point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Or if I may invite Chittaranjan Mahale sir or David sir also at this point to, if you want to ask any or you want to share anything. Now, the latest legislation, I think the policy that we have with us, Chittaranjan sir, you were mentioning about the latest policy. Yeah. Okay. I'll request our team to kindly unmute everyone so that everyone can unmute themselves. Because this is a question answer session, so let us keep it open for everyone. Yeah, Chittaranjan sir. Yeah, you can unmute now. Yeah.
Exactly what your question?
The question is if you can elaborate a little, enlighten us a little about the latest policy, and what is you as an industry leader, what is your reaction to the latest policy that we have?
I just told that latest policy is basically from the Colliery Control Amendment Rule 2021 and Mineral Concession Amendment Rule 2021. Recently, these two policies are amended and also in force by the Ministry of Coal, and this is basically to minimize the time, and the leasing of the coal mines is a very easier process.
Right. David sir?
No, my basic point was that we have to take an overall view of the requirement for coal and how do we deal with it. That was the basic point, not so much the nitty-gritty of this thing. So as we know, as of today, coal is the most important requirement for our energy. And as we go along with this commitment for zero emission, and generally the degradation which is being caused by open cast mining, we have to think about the future. So instead of working in silos, the environment one silo, production is another. So take a holistic view of the total energy requirement and how do we deal with that so that we reduce the requirement of coal itself. And this open cast mining is not going to last very long, in my opinion, because of the widespread areas required now. As we go down to deeper depths, the lateral expansion is also required. And the way we have to go forward is how to meet the energy requirement, keeping in mind the commitments our Prime Minister has made for the emissions. So that is my basic point. How do we go about it? That's a little broader point. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, otherwise, the speakers have been excellent. They've put forward their views very clearly. And that's all. Anybody wants to know something more about this, they can contribute also. So, thank you.
Right. Right. May I request our team to kindly unmute everyone so that, or make it mute so that everyone can unmute themselves. Maybe I will do this. Yeah. So attendees now can unmute themselves. There is a comment I see from DK Satapathy is from timely growth of mineral sectors, including coal, time required from concept to commission, including environmental clearance, especially forest clearance, time spent need to be examined. And the last comment from DK Satapathy was to avoid pollution due to increasing coal mining activities, stress to be given more on conventional energies like solar, wind, thermal, tidal, which Mr. David sir has already indicated. One question that I wanted to understand from you. In the meantime, if any one of you would like to ask the question, please go on. I found when we were actually reaching out to our stakeholders, we found that this is a very niche sector. Not many players are there. For example, Coal India and its subsidiaries control around 85% of the coal mining and exploration of it. And then there are some private companies like Tata Steel and then Adani and few. So mining sector is very skewed and small. Washery sector we found a little broad. Now, if you can give a little focus on creating awareness within the stakeholder when we do, then what more stakeholders we need to stretch out or reach out to, so that because it's a national development agenda that we are driving, and that is one. The second is a little more focus on coal washeries. That what is the stage of our coal washery sector in India, and because as we found that coal washery is a very important sector to complement the environmental activities that we do in this sector. So maybe if Satish sir can touch, and then I will request Munna sir also to touch upon. Satish sir, would you like to?
I'm audible now?
Yes, sir.
There are 1, 2 points which I left out of my kind of enthusiasm to speak. I deliver more. And one thing which is coming up of coal is a very unique mineral that if you know coal, fall in love with coal.
Sir, your voice is not coming very clear. Can you be a little louder?
Okay, is it okay now?
And now
better. Okay, I was just telling that coal is a very different kind of mineral. It is about knowing more and more about coal. If you know coal about proximity analysis, altimeter analysis, then material analysis, then coking, then non-coking, etc., etc. Plenty of things are there in coal. There is one more attribute which has come on coal, is the time value of coal. Time value of coal after this COP26 and other global awareness which is happening on reduce coal or reduce CO2, etc., etc. I was a part of COP15 at Copenhagen. There, it was all where stop CO2, stop coal, everybody. Then we have passed on 10 years away, stop coal, stop coal. So the problem is that we have to attach the time value of coal. We are running against time. So we have to encourage coal mining situation in a manner that we take up a mineral, but in a sustainable manner. I'm a man of sustainability, so sustainability has to be ensured. And this responsibility lies with the mine entrepreneurs, that how better they can plan a mine and they can contribute to the society and economy also. Because it is possible. It is very much possible to do mining in a much, much better way. I invite to one of the Adani mine. I am very surprisingly visiting first time when I was not a part of Adani. I came from IIT. And when I saw it is a wonderful mine. And that really motivated so many things to happen subsequently. So you can do much better in mining practices and also to the adding to your kitty. Second, one of my previous speaker was addressing is that energy requirement is there. So pressure is there to mine less coal.
So mine less coal or to coal less mine. Coal less mine means you can go for underground coal gasification, coal to oil. These are alternatives which we may explore. Okay, so mine less coal is a absurd word, so but it is a reality. People are telling less of mining. Coal India had planned for 1 billion ton coal by 2022, but it is producing 600 million ton coal. So these things are there. There is some restrictions on coal, and we have to realize it sooner the better. Time value of coal has to be attributed to, and we have to encourage mining to run it very fastly. Within 10 years, 15 years, I don't see after 20 years there will be any takers of coal. So it is our opportunity to capitalize it, but do a very sensible mining, very beautiful mining, contributing to ecosystems and sustainability, taking parameters of ecology, society, and economy, of course. So this way we can really, otherwise this is a missing opportunity as we missed CDM opportunity, Clean Development Mechanism opportunity. We missed, China capitalized, but we missed that. So now we do not want our country to miss it. And government people are there, MOE people are here, Tatas are here, international speakers are here. So I think this is a great opportunity. We must promote this time value of coal. We must produce mineless coal, and we must produce coal-less mine. These three words I want to give to this podium for discussions and consumption. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
And I agree with what Mr. Akram said. You see, coal washing is a very important component now, because as we see, if 34% ash coal is being transported, that means 1/3 of it is a waste. You are wasting the carrying capacity of the infrastructure, and you're going and taking it to that place, and after it's burnt in the powerhouse, it produces rejects. So coal pithead washeries are the way to go forward. Otherwise, we'll be transporting muck over large distances, consuming our transport capacities. So this is very important, and wherever possible, as I had mentioned, what Tata Steel had done, use the washery rejects to produce power. So to that extent, you don't. It doesn't become a waste product; it becomes a useful product. So these are some things we have to work on it, and overall energy requirement has to be studied, where we can supplement coal gradually with renewable sources. Solar is there, biomass. These are two, because we are large areas are under agriculture. We are producing food grains. A lot of agriculture waste is being produced. So how to turn it into useful power is something we have to think about. Even a few years back, these gobar gas plants were a big issue. Rather, it was being promoted in a big way. That is useful in each separate area. You can produce small quantities of power and use it so that you avoid long transmission lines of power. Isolated areas can do this. So this is a way we have to think about it, and we have to think about a future without coal, as Professor Satish said. We have to plan for it. It will also improve our environment.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Now from Tata and Adani, because Sinha sir is here, and Mahale sir as well as Mr. Hismi.
Akramji, if you would like to.
Munna sir, please go on, sir.
I just want to add something. Like David sir told about washeries and importance of washeries. Though ministry has removed those percentage of ash contained in the washeries, it is not that we are asking or we are pursuing that the power plant should not use those coal. Anyways, power plants are based on specific design of boilers and all. So they have to use some of the things which are below certain ash contents. So the freeing this notification, freeing this stipulation of 30% was basically for overall flexibility of all the power plants without any distance and all. So that clear objectives of meeting of those remains there. And plus, regarding coal washeries, since we look after the ECs of washeries also, When we look after the washeries EC, we always stipulate those during the siting criteria itself, we ask them to site those washeries near to the mine pit or near they must have a railway siding at least. And plus, if it would be more better if they use mine water if they are near to the pit head. If it is not, then we ask them for creating their own pond or with a sufficient quality or quantity, so that they can, in lean period, they can use those things. Most of, if you see the number of proposals in washery sectors, it's mostly from the Chhattisgarh area where they are proposing for groundwater extraction. So we normally ask them that don't go for more of groundwater, but why don't you extract surface water and then we have a water harvesting pond so that they can use those pond water in lean period. So anyway, I think the transporting of ash to the power plants is better to leave that ash at the washery sites itself. However, those washeries needs to be placed at the mine pit head itself, so that the rejects can be utilized and can be used there itself, or water from mine water can be used there itself. And the transportation facility of railway siding can be explored at the mine pit itself. So that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, anyone, if you have any question, please feel free to ask.
Exactly, I agree with this. Nowadays, the means the coal. I think it is after 30 years you can the scarcity of the coal. So right now we are thinking about the alternative fuel like hydrogen as a fuel or the solar power, renewable energy. More focus on the renewable energy, and also in thermal power plant. In Indian coal, there is the calorific value is less, and coal content is ash content is more. And if you go for the exporting the outsourcing the coal, I mean your Australian coal or the South African coal, the calorific value is more, but sulfur content is somehow is ash content is less and the sulfur content is more. This is the balancing the means that you can pollute the environment like your if the ash content is more, the PM value is rising in the atmosphere, and also the sulfur content is more, the atmospheric the sulfur SO2 may increase. So now the legislator that MOEF has when granting the EC, there is in the next generation of the thermal power plant, that is FGD is means mandatory. Two gas distribution system is mandatory, and to do the thermal power plant for the thermal power plant. And also we can monitor the strengthen the environmental pollution like the your PM and the SOx, NOx, mercury. That is the heavy metal content is to be increased in the atmosphere. That is statutorily that is more focused to the project proponent is required, and somehow you can go for the difference like your power plant like the waste recovery. What are the power to get? And another thing, if you use the think about the I mean, Sponsor unit have a lot of coal reject is there. That also can be used in the power plant for the making of the that can make the power. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so this sector, sir, also when we were doing research, this sector is dominated by limited different kind of players. So I thought on the ground we need to create awareness about the environment aspect. So what I wanted from Mahali sir, and if Mr. Hishmi is here, Dr. Hishmi, is can you give 2-3 best practices on the environmental regulations or compliance that you follow from your respective company, which becomes a role model for though the private sector is very skewed and small, but giving the indication that future is more towards privatization. So what can be the best practices that can be adopted globally or at the much bigger and macro level? So Hishmi sir and Mahali sir, any one of you, and also Dr. Sinha can also come in. David sir also has different expertise on this. So 2-3 best practices on following environmental regulations or compliances. Yeah, Sinha sir, maybe.
Okay, yeah. You see, I now represent Adani, so I can cite one example of a mine in Chhattisgarh, Parsa East Kantabasan. It is a very large mine. Government has recently given permission for up to 18 million ton per annum, which is a large mine. And earlier it was producing 15 million ton and a good amount of area, 3,000 hectares of area, but very well managed and very well planned and very well executed also. Geology is also, it is very supporting. There is no problem in that. But one thing which I wanted to really communicate, people are not looking at one other resources which coal mining has been blessed with, and that is the methane gas. And methane gas, as all of us know, that is 21 times more greenhouse gas potential than CO2. So whatever coal mining we are doing, the coal methane is also blessed with coal seams. If we develop technology to that extent that we mine the methane first and burn it or save it from escaping to the atmosphere, then we can offset this and use it as a carbon credit. And every mine we can make it carbon negative. What to talk of net zero or anything. We are actually taking a project in Parsa where we want to capture the methane from the virgin ships and show to the world that we have saved this much of carbon credit. And that is 21 times more than the CO. So let it always, I am of the opinion that let us always encourage lateral thoughts, bring in fresh ventilation, and try to develop certain things which can really outsmart the world. So this area I am telling for everybody, there is no patent in that. You can implement in your mind, and we can take it up there. So that is my point here is that capture methane and make your mind carbon negative.
Thank you, sir. Now, David sir,
Yeah.
little different perspective. Maybe touching upon this, I want to add on. Now, our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, he vowed for a carbon neutral nation by a particular date. Now, this is a very tricky and question that keeping our need of coal alive, what should be our roadmap towards achieving carbon neutrality?
Yeah, it's a very tough situation, I must say, because as far as I can see for the near future means 20, 30 years, we cannot do without coal because our requirements are going up. From where do we, and we've got huge resources of coal in our country. The one way is, of course, try to phase out the old power plants, bring in the new ones, supercritical technology of this capturing energy and utilizing the coal to the best possible way, because the old plants are very inefficient. And the other thing is what Professor Satish said about the coal bed methane. Unfortunately, the Indian coal seams are not highly gassy as some of them used to be in the UK and other places. So the amount of methane you can capture from the seams while mining or pre-mining is very limited. So the other thing is go for gasification underground itself, which some of the even I think private companies like SR and all are doing it. But the problem in India is that these companies are very, very reluctant to share their experience. They keep it as a closely guarded secret. Coal India is also doing it. So you can do coal gasification so that the coal and the ash, everything is left there. You only bring out in the form of methane or some combustible gases. The other thing is abandoned coal mines also can be a source of methane. So particularly the Raniganj coal field, some of the seams were extremely gassy when we were working that earlier. Some like Jamadoba also and these places, we can think about it. but we have to have very good concentrated R&D work on this thing. So converting the underground coal seams to produce gas from them directly, that is one way of doing it. Of course, there is a cost involved. Then there has to be a trade-off between environment and the cost for producing the gases. So these are a lot of R&D work is required, and I don't know how much of work is being done. The SIMFERS, that is the Center for the Mining and Fuel Research in Dhanbad, they should be the lead, should take the lead in this one. And ISM, IIT ISM also can do something in this because they've got a long history of working on coal mines. So these are some of the thoughts others can contribute also.
Now, right. Thank you, sir. Now, a very important question for Munna Shah, sir. Sir, now our Laksh is carbon neutrality or a net zero nation in the world. So, to achieve that, our policy framework, we all know very well that our policy framework is primarily to give a direction to the industry to become more sustainable and energy efficient. Now, from here, how our government or policymakers is making policies towards achieving carbon neutral nation or net zero nation. Is it going to be discouraging for the industry, especially for the coal sector, or is it become more stringent and more encouraging toward R&D to make the sector energy efficient, less carbon polluting? So which approach we are taking it? Is it discouraging or towards highly efficient and yeah?
Looking at the scenario of this government right now, it's not discouraging, it's encouraging. If you see Ministry of Coal auctioning for commercial mining, it's encouraging. And however, there is an innovation is required in this area because we being a very conservative people, always do fall on the line of conservation, like on the front of shovel dumper and all the same old mining technology we offer. Nobody prefers to go or take a challenge to have a different mining technology. For example, if there are good technologies like dragline or surface miner, they will, though it involves cost, they will not go for it. They will go for shovel dumper, which is a same of earlier old model mining methodology. And economics are also involved because if there is a higher stripping ratio, they will prefer to go open cast, not that go for underground, because there is an economic involved in this. And for your question regarding climate change and more of those things of technology and per se of the demotivating or not to motivate, it's always see. Climate change is one of the area we are focusing. However, which is being driven by Ministry of Non-Renewable Energy. If you know, if you can see the policies of MNRE, they are most proactive towards us. If you see Coal India now, they are also coming in solar domain. They are also going for diversifying themselves so that they come into the features of sustainable mining plus innovation plus going to the renewable sources also. And second thing is even after different sectors are going adopting to those technologies. So balancing is required at the end of the day. We have a target at COP. We gave a target at COP, so we have to stick with that targets also. However, we are not limited to that. We know our benefit of having a coal mine, which is the second largest coal reserves in the world. So we cannot go just throw that out. We have to explore that. We have to, however, at the same time, we have to take a balancing approach, and we have in our own economic independence. We have to do with that only.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, one UPSC question for our speakers. Seeing the environmental legislation activeness globally, where are we standing today in terms of more environmental compliance and aggression vis-a-vis many of the developed and developing countries? Maybe some of the Asian countries, how is some of the Asian countries moving towards more, environment compliance, towards coal mining and coal washeries, towards European countries and West. So any international comparison towards our regulation transition and transformation. Maybe Sina sir to start off.
You see, this question I answered at forums, and I invited my enemies to surround me. This I am discussing the instance at Copenhagen and also at a Hotel Taj at Delhi, when said that, you see, now I remind you of our culture. Our Indian culture is so rich and so aligned to nature that obviously we stand first. Of, there may be some entropy, some kind of poverty, pollution, all right. But as a matter of fact, our energy consumption per capita is very, very less compared to other people who are doing it just on the account of luxury and something like this. So this I said to the US people in Copenhagen, and they were very, I mean, disturbed by the. I said that developed is he who contributes to the society and the surrounding world, not that he takes. We have been taught like that. If I am developed, I need to contribute. Are you contributing or are you taking only from the entire atmosphere and the global things? You are taking. Your pollution is too much. You are wasting your energy in gymnasium. You're wasting energy in AC. In our habits, you see, our richer people, Indian, rest of the people are like that. You see, we are in line with the atmosphere, in line with the weather, in line with the food habits. You see, we worship the natural gods. So, but our industry, of course, in the not in that state. So, one-to-one comparison, at times we may fall down. But overall, we are on a very good ethnic path, and we must take it forward and always galvanize it with the modern. And we are very much smart now. We are no less in digitization. We are no less in innovations. So we can catch up, but not forgetting our this internal inherent system, which will give us the cutting edge on that. So we are certainly at a very higher pedestal so far the compliances, etc. is concerned. If you look at things in totality. Okay.
David sir and Rathur sir, if you would like to comment.
Compliance one, I think those who are actually active in the industry should be able to say, and our Shah Sahab will be able to confirm whether the claims are good. But the fact is, there has been a tremendous improvement, because in the 1970s and 80s, nobody even used to talk about environment. It was always how much do you produce, at what cost do you produce. So from there, we have come a long way, and a lot of credit goes to the Ministry of the Environment and Forest for enforcing this. But everything has a cost. See, more stringent the regulations, the costs also will go up. But in the overall picture, any improvement in the environment will definitely economically also benefit the country. So it's a very tough call. It's sort of a balancing you'll have to do. But my opinion is, I think overall we have been definitely doing better and better over the years. But still, maybe it's still a long way to go. And we have to, as I said, do a lot of R&D, even carbon sequestration. This is again something we should think about how to dovetail that into all our planning. So the overall planning is what I again stress. We are always trying to work in silos. Each ministry or each company works in a separate way. And as I said, we are very reluctant to share our data also. That is another problem, and we have to also address. That is probably in our inherent nature. We are a bit secretive in what we do. We don't share our knowledge. So somewhere we have to move towards that, where we can pool in all the resources, every type of energy, and maybe as a target. So we are, I think, including imported coal, I think something like 800 million tons we are consuming. I don't foresee a reduction in this. At least whatever increase in requirement for energy should come from renewable sources. We start with that and then have maybe a time frame of maybe 20 years or something where the coal requirement comes down from 800 million tons slowly down. So something like that will need to be done, but this has to be done at the highest level. That's my submission.
Thank you. Rathod sir, you want to say something?
Yeah. So we listened every speaker, and it was very thought-provoking. And Dr. Satish Sinha, he has been close to me in past. Now he is with Adani Enterprises. I want to tell that India is to grow at 8.5% of rate next year. And for this growth, we need energy. And this energy is only coming from coal now. As of now, major energy is coming from coal. So coal energy will be the dominant part, and it will be contributing more. Although Coal India has planned for 3,000 megawatt of solar energy in the next 2-3 years, by 23-24, Coal India will be achieving this target, 3,000 megawatt. But as we are talking of sustainability, how sustainability come? As of now, we are talking of getting rid of coal. But think of when we use solar energy. Solar energy, solar panels are costing more. So import duty has been imposed. So material availability for solar panel is constant, and you may be knowing 900 megawatt project in Rajasthan has been put on hold. Solar project has been put on hold due to the cost increase. So suppose we adopt totally renewable energy or solar energy. So after use solar panel, where it will be disposed? So it will be another problem after 20, 30, 40 years. As we are talking of getting rid of coal, as coal is producing SO2 or CO2 or sulfur is contributing to increase in particulate material. So after 30, 40, 50 years, what will happen? We will be having problem in disposing these solar panels, and it will be another hazard, and it will be another contributor to increase the global warming.
Thank you. Great question. So any question or anything you are posing, sir? Yeah. I think excellent view, Rathod sir. I think now this I wanted to come to our policymaker, Munna sir. Sir, right now you have a problem to manage environmental regulations in the coal sector. Now you are promoting that, but e-waste is more hazardous than your coal waste or coal environment pollution. So that means tomorrow you will have to handle policy for both together with equal level of damage and problem.
I think plastic HSM division is looking for that. E-waste actually, it's an EPR for that and all coming up. But however, the question is genuine and it's tough to answer also, and we need to sort it out.
Right. Okay.
We have to.
But one thing, you see, technology also keeps on improving. So hydrogen is what we talked about. So if hydrogen can be used in a major way for energy, then your disposal of these panels and all will come down. So we can't project today's situation 20 to 30 years because more technologies will be coming in. As you know, that earlier the motor car, I think 80% by weight was steel. Today it is hardly 30-40% because composites have come, plastics have come. So we have to keep progressing. So maybe hydrogen will be there. Of course, even nuclear power is something we can take care of the hazards. So like France, I think is 100% nuclear energy they are working on now. Many of the European countries are there.
So better way is to have energy mix. So coal cannot be fully completely eliminated. So we will certainly the coal contribution will be around to 25 to 30% in coming 20-30 years.
Minimum. When our hydropower
it will be for next 150 years. It cannot go down below 25% of total energy mix.
That we cannot forecast because technology keeps changing. What
Yeah,
was true yesterday is not true today. So as
certainly. But
hydropower,
as far as sustainability is concerned, we have to be sustainable so that we can leave resources for future use. Future generation can use whatever the life we are leading as of now, what luxury we are leading this just now. Our people coming or those who will take birth after 100 years, they can use the same luxury and better amenity and facility. So we have to think for that, and the policy makers and we have discussed in this forum has will give impetus for more thinking over it, and we can come with solutions. Sudhir, as GRC India, Dheeraj ji is doing a very good work, and I have heard Mudita Tomar explaining everything. I'm thankful to Mudita Tomar. It was very informative. And although I'm working in this field, I had not gone through those things, and particularly all the provisions of this act, Environment Protection Act, Forest Act, Water Act, and what are the consent to operate, consent to start, like that. So everything we as in this forum, and I am very thankful to Akram ji and other fellows because I have upgraded my knowledge in this field. Thank you.
Thank you,
hydropower
sir.
is again hydropower is again a very useful component. We may be able to increase because we got the Himalayas and the Himalayan streams and rivers coming, and that is very good for. You see, the advantage of hydropower is it can be started almost instantaneously, unlike thermal power, which will take several hours before it can be started after stoppage. But hydropower can be almost switched on immediately. So, as Utpal sir has said, it has to be a mix: hydropower, solar power, thermal power, biomass. Biomass is, I keep repeating, it's a huge resource is available for us. We are not using it. We are just burning it or throwing it away. That can be used for this. And we have no shortage of cows, as you know. So gobar gas can be also used for certain areas. It's not that it can be used everywhere. And localized requirement, at least if you meet, they will not be drawing power from the grid. To that extent, it can help. Remote areas also can help. And even in the Himalayas, you have these mini hydel projects you can have. You don't have to have huge ones. Have mini hydel projects, what they call the run-off stream projects. So like that, holistic view has to be taken. We cannot deal with any sector separately.
Thank you. I think a lot of discussion. So, whatever energy mix we talk about, environmental regulation will always be there in all sectors. So that common factor will be there. So that means our discussion about environmental compliance and regulations will always be there. Am I right?
Yes.
Right. Now I will club 3 questions, I think, and this will be the final question. Then I will take the closing comment from each of you. Honorable Joint Secretary was supposed to join. Now his meeting is actually not is continuing. He really wants to join, but unfortunately he's not able to out of that meeting. He is not able to come out of that meeting because of some important sensitive discussions that is going on. Number one, when it comes to implementation, the role of state governments become absolutely important. Now, in this environmental regulatory nature, what is the level of states' involvement into creating environmental awareness, into creating awareness at the same time, compliance following? That is one. So please kindly note the questions because I'll repeat. I'll ask all 3 questions here only in this question only. The second. Again, I forgot, was a very important question, is the best practices, like from the coal washeries or coal mining. Can you give 2-3 examples of, like Sinha sir gave one example of that Odisha coal mining. This is very important, this is the only reason for which we are organizing this program. 2-3 best practices of complete 100% adherence towards environmental compliance and regulations in coal mining, coal washeries, and the peripheral activities. I think these 2.
I just add 1 or 2 points, Akram bhai. Just as you all know that under this Environmental Protection Act of 1986, There is Section 3, subsection 3 combined with Rule 5, which says that there cannot be any dilution in terms of environmental regulations. Whenever there is a legislation, then you'll have to further improve and protect environment. So thereby, whenever any department or ministry wants to have a dilution, then it gets struck down by various courts. Just because that the preamble says that whenever there is a legislation, you have to bring further improvement or further protection of environment. Second point, whatever Akram Bhai has said, we just wanted to understand three best practices. We want to know those three best practices throughout our country with respect to coal mining, and secondly with respect to coal washeries, so that if somebody wants to put up, so they can visit that site, they can understand everything with respect to the design processes, and of course corporate environment and social responsibility also. So packaging all these three components, which are those three best practices in coal mining and coal washery? Thank you.
So, and with this also we will take the closing remarks, closing comment. Maybe Rathur sir to start.
Yeah, as far as best practices is concerned, actually, why the power plants which are being commissioned, supercritical power plant or critical power plants, and they need actually power plants need coal minus 100 size. So earlier we used to produce coal by blasting. In open cast mines, we do blasting and coal lumps are formed, and that was being transported to the power plant. Now selective mining we have started. Actually, as the regulation, different environmental regulations have come up, and in 2014, 34% as percentage coal was more than that, was not to be transported. So Coal India and other in Singareni and other companies also, they are using in under open cast mines. They have deployed, they have almost eliminated coal, blasting of coal. So they are doing it by surface miner. So surface miners have been introduced in most of the open cast mines, having 10 million or more capacity. As far as in Coal India, Gebra, Korba, Gebra, Kusmunda, Dipka, these are the three mines which are producing more than 40 million ton in a year. So its capacity, Korba coalfield itself in Chhattisgarh is the major producer of coal in India. And Gebra is the largest coal producing mine in Asia also. So there we use surface miners. Surface miners, they cut coal in the size of minus 100 which is directly transported to the NTPC. It is connected to NTPC Korba. Coal is also supplied to Gujarat, Punjab, Maharashtra and other states. So if it is the best practice, but so as far as the environmental pollution, someone was telling that open cast mining damages much. Certainly, there will be loss of vegetation. So biological and physical reclamation of land and will be required. Flora, fauna will be damaged. So, but after doing this, we are giving right quality of coal. But actually, grading system has been changed. Earlier, we used to have different getting. Now the coal has been graded from G1 to G17. So G17 coal is lower quality coal, having a calorific value of 2000 to 2200 like that. So the coal supplied is as per the requirement of the power plants. And if the power plant is having the grade is lesser than what is required, they have been also allowed by government to import high grade coal, so that they are mixing, they are doing mixing. As recently we have seen a report that NTPC has imported 1.41 million ton of coal from outside to mix with Indian coal. And so the grading, the as percentage is brought down to the level which is required, and the plant ducts and plants equipments are not much damaged. As far as Indian coal is concerned, there is no sulfur. Almost there is no sulfur. So SO2 formation is not there. Only carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide there. So Best practice is that we have to understand the psychology of the consumer, the power plants and other consumers, and we have to supply coal. And Coal India is doing that. Coal India is meeting its the demand. Certainly, in last month, August, September, last year, August, September, there was havoc that coal is in shortage, and we coal the power plant will go dry like that. But ultimately, Coal India supplied 48 million ton more coal to the power plants in comparison to last year. So as of now, there is no starvation at power plants. Only thing is that due to the rake supply, lesser rake supply, some of the far distant places power plants might not have got the required coal. So there may be some apparent shortage which has been fulfilled now. So best practice is to understand the psychology of the consumer and do, and Coal India is very well doing it, and Coal India is shouldering the responsibility for meeting the coal demand. As far as this webinar is concerned with Washery also, and after this ordinance of 2020 that more than 34% as percentage coal can be transported, it is a right decision of government, because when Washery was installed, do you know, running the Washery we need power. For running the Washery we need water. Suppose we are consuming water, slurry is formed. This slurry goes to the nala and then again to river and then to go to bigger river. So there is contamination. So if the coal is washed or coal is blended with imported coal at power plant, so this damage or this thing may not happen at mine site. As coal is washed at mine site. So as we are having pollution due to blasting of coal and due to transportation of coal, again when we are washing this coal, 34% we are bringing the coal to the 34% level. So 10 to 15% as is only reduced. Indian coal is in between 30 to 50% of as. So for meeting the 34% as content requirement, we are reducing the as content by 10-15%. And reducing 10-15%, we are not going to increase heat value of that coal. And coal rejects, which are formed during washing, it has also calorific value. If we dump it at some other place, there will be burning. So again, there will be a problem for pollution, and there will be environmental damage to the locals. So lastly, I want to add that we need a regulation, as Munna Sahab was very well telling and questioning, answering the questions. I understood him well, and he was just giving his suggestions of what as Tata representative from Tata was had put some 48 months timeline or 24 months timeline. So Munna Shah has told that even it has been given in clearance has been given in 70-80 days. So the government is proactively supporting the business houses and the industries in the coal field, coal mining, and the government full support is being provided by the government in land acquisition and mining lease, licenses, everything. As far as Chhattisgarh government is concerned, I am from Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh government is extending every support in land acquisition, rehabilitation, resettlement, and others, whatever, law and order. In coal mining area, there is also law and order problem. So Chhattisgarh is a peaceful state and everything is going well. Only thing is that we have to change our outlook as the demands. We have to comply by international conferences to which we have made commitment. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi he has made commitment to reducing carbon footprint. So we will be doing. And lastly, I can say that this webinar will be very useful for all the participants who attended the program. And I will request the organizer, Akramji and Dheeraj Kumarji, to send the proceedings of this seminar to all the participants so that they can further read and understand the thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. David, sir.
You raised a point about the state governments. The Air Act and Water Act, of course, will come under the state pollution control boards. But otherwise, I think it's mainly the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Climate Change, who will be looking into all these things, guiding the industry and taking whatever suggestions are given and implement them. Because I think environment and forest both are mainly central government. State governments, as Utpal was saying, yeah, they can help in maintaining law and order and things like that. But environment and forest regulation will be basically the central government.
Thank you. Satish, sir, right there, you would like to make the last final comment? And Chittaranjan Mahale, sir, Hishmi, sir, if you are there. So yeah, the conference has got highly extended to 3 hours now. And I really thank each one of you for your patience and also for being so generous to join and continue, especially the speakers. So yeah, final word from Munna sir, and then we'll go to Dheeraj sir to close.
2 points you have asked for the, like you wanted a reply on the 2 fronts, basically. On the state government's activity, basically on the compliance to be done by state government and the action to be looked after by state government. Just to inform you that we have a SIA. If you, I know you being a consultant, you know everything. SIA is a body which we have formed at for granting ECs at state level. So they are also granting ECs at as per the categorization of schedule, and they are also there for inspection also. Plus, while granting CTOs, state governments are always there for they will go for inspection of those sites before granting CTO. And recently we have formed increased our IRO regional offices. Earlier it was 10, now it is 19 regional offices. In Chhattisgarh, Raipur is there. So every state or every 2 states have got a single IROs we have, and there are scientists involved have been put on there so that they can go and certify those ECs compliance. So to and fro activities going on, and I hope this will not hamper the activity of industry, that regular compliances is being monitored so that they can comply and proactively those compliance can be met. Second question of best practices. Best practice, very frankly, as a regulator, I have not seen any best practices. So, however, I would. I have a lot of questions.
Munna Sasa, may I request you kindly say better practice, not best practice. So good, yes. You can say better practice if you have seen, because you are regulator, yes. You are sitting in Delhi MOEF. So everything is coming to your table. You are seeing everything. So at least you can say better practice which you have observed.
Or you say best available practices. What is that?
So better practices, if you say, sir, I have seen this Gevra mine and they have a good input silo loading. They have an input conveyor. From there, they are extracting coal from haul road. From the seam, they are directly going to their input, and from there, it is going to be silo loading. And from those silo loading, it is directly going to the feeder of railway wagons. So the whole transportation mechanism of is being catered by conveyor systems, which reduces a significant amount of air pollution in that area.
That I wanted to emphasize in my remark, that Gevra, Kusmunda, Dipka, three areas of SECL, we have got silo system of coal transportation. So Dipka area is connected to NTPC Sipat, Gevra area is connected to this NTPC Korba, and Kusmunda is connected to state thermal power station called Hasdev Thermal Power Station. So we are supplying coal through these silos. So in Dipka and Gevra area, from the face itself, actually 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer lead is there. We transport coal to the TRS truck receiving section. From there, the coal is transported through different belts to silo, and from silo, it is very rapid loading system. It is there. Within 30 minutes, we load one rake. 4,000 ton rake we load in 30 minutes. So we supply coal to them. It is the best practice we are following. We are following means Coal India is following.
Better practice.
And what happens if the coal is to be transported through truck, by truck, then again diesel consumption will be there. Diesel is there will be sulfur content there. So SO2 in accumulation will be there in that environment, coal mines environment. So that we have reduced pollution. We have reduced pollution, that's SO2 pollution and NOx level, by adopting from truck loading or truck carrying through belt, transportation of coal through belt.
That's ideal.
And this is the best practice. I am thankful to Munna Sahab, as you have pointed out, and it is for knowledge of other speakers also, so that they can know what Coal India is doing.
Sir, I'll provide one more. I'll just put forth one more. They have what they have done. SECL.
Yeah.
They have created a nursery of sal forest.
Yeah.
Sal trees actually. So if this Hasdev area and all this Chhattisgarh area, and if you say in Jharkhand, the Damodar area, those were actually a sal forest, which is basically rejuvenating those rivers by putting those water in that. They have a good holding capacity of river of water actually. So we are asking them, and they have already developed a nursery of around 25,000. They have 25,000 sal saplings, and we have asked them to distribute it freely to the local people, so that sal development can happen. And since this Hasdev area is one of the oldest biodiversity area, so we are cutting it because of coal, but they can plant it so that those sal can be reignited, and then they can be again planted. I would request even Adani representative Sinha sir and Tata Steel is there. Once they cut, for example, if they cut the species of that species should only be planted, though it takes a time. If you create a nursery of that area of those species, and then you start taking a plantation of those species only. Otherwise, what is happening is in a way of generating forest, we are developing an exotic species plantation, which is not going to be helpful for any way in that area. So those three things I would basically on the compliance front. All these things will matter for us also when we go and check it.
Thank you.
So lastly, I would thank you, Akramji and Dheerajji, for inviting me. I was apprehensive for coming to the session, but Dheerajji insisted me, so I came, and it was a good listening also. Speaking is also always good, but listening is always good, because you gather much of the things. And sitting on the other side, I can at least preempt the things which can we do. At least we can do practically.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I see Mahali sir is also here. So, Mahali sir, would you like to?
Yeah, you say the best environmental practice as a group concern, Tata Steel concern. Here means basically the company has continuous invest in the process technology that more than the energy efficiency for the consequently the CO efficiency for the Tata Steel is committing to playing the activity, the constructive role to addressing climate change, reducing the own performance of steel, and will make it possible the producer of the lighter and more fuel efficient vehicles, energy efficiency building. Already half amount of energy needed to take the means the Tata Steel has set the target to reducing the carbon CO2 emission by the 20% of the next years, and also taken the rainwater, this practice rainwater harvest, less use of the water for and use of renewable energy. And apart from that, they have taken different means process of and organic compost plant. You know, the organic compost plant for the municipal waste. They have proposed and green energy. And also they are thinking of the more the hydrogen as a fuel. They are initiating and greenery and road development area in different mines and wash area, and also implementing zero wastage of the liquid discharge, zero wastage of water. And these are the main focus by the federation, and also the develop the engagement of the environmental management system. And this air flow pollution just they have more implementing. And also the
Your line is disturbing, sir. You're not able to hear you properly.
sorry. It is hello.
Yeah, now better, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. These are the
Fine. So thank you so much, sir, Male sir. Now, Sina sir, final comment from you.
This is a very nice initiative. We could gather together discussing, brainstorming on issues. I just want to communicate that sustainability is about inclusivity. We are not here to eliminate any energy option. We should have a mix of all these, and engineering, evolution should follow. Just remember, 10 years ago, the solar cost was plenty, 20 rupees per unit. Now it is competing with 2 rupees, 1.99 last bidding had happened. So, and for that matter, sustainability is about assessing any project, be it coal or solar or e-waste, on all the three scales of sustainability, which is ecology, society, and economy. If you are continuously checking it under the guidance of MOEF, SPCB, etc., then, and there are policymakers, there are institutions, we can always take a sustainable path. And India is have a very traditional knowledge, wisdom also, from where also we can rope in plenty of energy requirements which we can meet for the community. And our energy demands are not more; it is just adequate. Our habits are like that. So this country has a very great future towards SRI, which you have aimed. GRC, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Dheeraj sir, the final word of the conference.
No, it's fine, please. So now you can proceed, please.
Right. So we with this, I think we come close to the program. And thank you so much, GRC India, Dheeraj sir, led by Dheeraj sir, who is doing exceptional work, working for 16 to 18 hours a day, trying to bring awareness, trying to contribute tremendously in the field of environmental compliance, assessment, and then awareness. So I'll come to the final part of the program. I'll request a pillar of GRC, Mr. Ankit Rana, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Akramji. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, good evening to all the honorable members and participants. It is indeed a great honor for me to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. Let me first of all start by thanking the Almighty God for making today's occasion and event a resounding success, and that only happened with the support and blessing of you all present here. I would like to thank all the esteemed guests, participants, honorable speakers for their valuable time spared for this webinar. I would like to thank all our associated organizations for tendering their untimely support. BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Alumni Association of GNU AJ, GRC India, All India Association of Coal Mining Executives, Services Export Promotion Council, the Policy Times, and others for their timely support and guidance during this webinar. We owe special gratitude to the organizing committee, coordinator, and the team behind organizing this webinar. I thank all the distinguished invitees present here, accepting our invitation and being present and delivering their valuable thoughts with us. Once again, I would like to thank you all for your kind attention and presence. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ankitji. Now, may I request another important part of this conference without whose support, we may not be able to successfully pull this up. Mr. Viju Philip, to kindly run the national anthem, and may I request each one of us to kindly stand up and participate in the national anthem. Thank you so much for being part of this wonderful program.
Thank you.
This we formally
Thank you
announce
so much, sir.
end of the
Thank
program.
you so much.